too.
We look forward to bringing you lots of grow rooms as we continue to usher in legalization. We took down the federal government's attempt to ban home growing in the country of Canada.
If we're going to go to court and seek a constitution.
Welcome back to Cannabis in Canada. It is April the 28th, and yeah, it is approximately 3:10 in the afternoon on a Friday, and I'm yelling only because I had my music playing in my ears to try to calm me down and settle me down before a show. Yeah, it's been a long-ass week and a lot of struggle. Man, technology sucks, but when you have a teenager and a willingness to want to repair a problem, then you know, due diligence and persistence pays. And this is a good example of it because we had lots of hiccups, we had lots of funny complaints, lots of our little fan club wanting to give shout outs about how screwed up our show is and how they can't stand watching it because of hiccups. And it's like, we're trying. And I'm hoping today's show will go without any hiccups, other than maybe myself being manually making some hiccups. But other than that, we went through all of our equipment, sound went through and tested it, updated everything where applicable. And hopefully this is our first run with it. But again, I'm pretty confident that we fixed what we needed to fix. And we're now going to move forward with having more productive shows. And to our little fan club out there that loves to hate on people trying, you know, we're still moving forward and it's fixed.
So yeah, whoever was reporting, cheers to you. Whoever, you know who you are, cheers to you. That's all I got to say to you.
Enough attention to that. Anyway, guys, hopefully you're ready. Thank God it's Friday. Honestly, this is one of the few times that I actually say that, because to me every day is like a work day. But this is one of the first times that I'm saying thank God it's Friday, because the wife and I, after this show, and my daughter, honestly, my daughter helped me a lot in getting, not only working on her with her transitions as she's going off out of high school now, working with her at home a little bit on that, but also working a lot on the company business and making sure we got this stuff back in check. And I hope to God it doesn't make an ass of me by making this not work now that we're going. But I'm pretty confident in the stable program. Also got my new editing software today, so I'm back to personally editing, something I haven't done for over 6 months. I've been too busy learning this software to take time to actually do the pre-editing that goes with some of the shows. And we will be playing some of those today. We have also a Justin Loizo's speech from Ontario. I played this for the past couple of days. A lot of the footage is from 420. I've got some stage footage here from our own BC 420. We've got the Dark Harvest interview that I want to keep doing until this show airs. I'm very proud and feel privileged to have been able to interview the producer, the director, the writer, and the lead actor in Dark Harvest.
Pretty cool.
To come out in June. So AC Peterson, James Hudson, who I interviewed, and then of course Mr. Cheech Marin.
Cool.
So when you put these guys together, Cheech hasn't done a show in like, I can't remember, like 19 years or something.
It's been a marijuana film. Because they were calling it marijuana, but Cheech hasn't been in a cannabis film in like 30 years or something.
That's right. That's
so
what I'm saying.
No, sorry, you said film. Only cannabis film. It's been so many years since he's been in one.
That he hasn't attended in a movie, and now this is the first time.
It's a big deal.
People remember the Cheech that I remember, and this is, you know, in the interview I actually talked to James about what it was like working with Cheech. Is he the guy that we remember from when we were kids, or what is he like? Anyway. You guys will see in the interview, but it was very interesting to see that Cheech has now come back in the big screen, and this is coming out, it'll be in theaters. We're not talking Netflix, we're talking it's going to be in theaters long before Netflix. And this is a first big, I hate using the word marijuana, but around the world marijuana movie that's going to have Cheech Marin, and really it's a Vancouver-based show, but it shows the darker side of the cusp of legalization. And what I mean by that is that a good example is here in British Columbia, we have our industry's built on this. Like when the forestry industry went down in BC, the cannabis industry went up. That's why BC Bud became world renowned. People needed to eat, people needed to feed their families, and it became very much so. BC Bud was a brand. I guess
Still is.
Yeah. Where was I even going with that? Because I was on a little bit of a tirade there. What was I even going with that?
Sorry, I'm inviting some people to the show.
The Dark Harvest show. The darker part of because right now this is going on. This is going on with the raids and Project Claudia, Project Gator with the Emerys. We got this going on now with the attempted coup against the medical patients of Canada, throwing them under the bus with fire, mold, and organized crime in favor of profits with big business and big corporations. It's very much the dark side of legalization and what that exactly means. I've always said legalization is nothing more than a terminology without a model. So you tell me you're going to legalize, it means nothing to me.
Basically.
You show me the model that says that I get to grow and there's going to be a good seed to sale model and there's going to be whatever, we're good. And we got a lot to talk on today's show as well about the ACMPR. I have to retract my own statement. I made a statement about, I have to go back over the legislation, but there is legislation in there about schools. You know, and about not being able to grow.
Growing.
It's not just outdoor, it's indoor too. That's why I want to check on this more, and I want the lawyers to look at this. Now, it's not something we're going to need to challenge now, but if somebody ever gets charged, you know, for being indoor, growing in a tent, for instance, properly managing their stuff, and just because they live near a school, that somehow negates their constitutional right to autonomy,
No.
I think that policy infringes on that constitutional right to autonomy, but I'm not an attorney, I'm just a patient.
Until they start, you know, grading LCBOs and bars, and, you know, no offense to anybody that owns a corner store. Corner stores all are, you know what, death dealers. You know what, you've got cigarettes and cigars behind your counters. So until they eradicate that from man, how dare they tell somebody that's growing a harmless plant, you know what, they can't do it because they're beside a school. Now, my father, for example, back east, lives between two schools. You know, if he wants to grow cannabis, which he doesn't, but if he wanted to, why the hell shouldn't he be allowed to? As a, you know what I mean, as a Canadian resident. Exactly, you know what I mean? There's the stupidity in that. He's between two of them.
Worst of all is we're advocating for people to start doing this growing, and I get it for the outdoor because they want to protect the kids, so I kind of get that to a degree. But if you're going to include indoor, and say if you live near a daycare, I mean, who the hell knows where the daycare is in your neighborhood? You're asking. Again, this goes beyond the point of reasonable, dignified access, and goes into the area of infringing on one's right to autonomy. And you do not need to protect kids right by a school when they can walk 2 blocks away to dad's house and see the plants in person. My God, this is like a Hitler solution. Well, it's all bad.
It is you know what, there's some good. I mean, the good is that there's 5 years, like Justin Trudeau was saying on Vice. He's going to give medical, 5 years for medical.
Yes.
Exactly. But for the rec market, you know what, they're getting hooped. I don't know. I guess they're not. I mean, you know what?
You're not getting hooped. As long as you get into the ACMPR, no, you're not getting hooped because right now you don't need to be diagnosed. You don't need to have a prescription from a doctor. You get an authorization. Meaning that you and your doctor agree that cannabis works for you to sleep, your bum knee, your bad nightmares, whatever the hell it is. It doesn't need to be cancer, AIDS, or etc. as it used to be when they first started in 2001 with their fear-mongering bullcrap. Now's your opportunity. If you're so, again, I'll point to the Emorys and I'll point to the Goodwins. I respect them a lot, and look at what it took. It took them to get raided and busted and put on trial for them to go get a license to protect themselves so they can still smoke weed in public. Well, don't be them. Don't wait till you get charged and then have to go get a license just so you can smoke. Protect yourself now. It's the government that's given this wrong policy to Canada. It's the government that's screwing the Canadian civilians. So no, protect yourself under the legislation we fought for in Allard that protected everybody to grow. There's an estimated 1 million medical patients and you're one of them. Sorry, a bit of a tirade.
No, it's all good. Absolutely.
Well, what can I say? It's true. We want to get. After this Australia trip, I'm locking down on the business side of these tents. My tent's here in my literally in my condo in my living room. But I mean, when I say lockdown, we're going to be promoting, and what's going to come with getting tents through us is going to be the consulting that comes with that, and the follow-up Skype calls and the stuff that patients,
important stuff.
Patients need and end users need. Because in a couple of years, when the end user can only grow 4 plants but refuses to go under the guise of a medical program, well, fine. 4 plants will still pull you a pound every 70 days if you're taught right by the right grower. And there's no reason that can't happen for anybody, and that's reasonable for the recreational weekend warrior. Now, for the medical user that needs copious amounts every day to fight ailments or to treat, side effects of ailments, well, that's a completely different discussion and why we need to have a 2-tiered system.
It's still, It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't want to spend today fretting about the government and what they may do, because you know what?
There's no frets.
Well, we don't even know what they're going to do. This is proposed. I want to say this again. This is proposed legislation. It's going to take some time before this proposed legislation actually falls into law within policy within this country. So you know what? Thank goodness our rights have been protected as patients, and thank God for that. And you know what? I would like to say that, The rec market isn't being hooped. If the MMPR had gone into effect, we were all getting hooped. So the fact that, you know what, people have access to 4 plants rather than 0 plants is a success. It's a huge success. Oh, I think it just times out after a few minutes because we're not.
You just got to swipe the front of the keyboard. That's what's going on. There's a time, I got to fix the timer on it. See, we're sort of getting this together. Whoa!
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave that because I'm gonna.
It's okay, I got it.
It's just a TV.
Yeah.
It's just the TV behind us.
No biggie.
We got the timer thing. We gotta reset it.
Sorry, just swipe that keyboard. We need a little poker.
Yeah.
Cha. Between the dog moving the camera and us doing this, but whatever. It is what it is, guys. Share this around, like it, and let's open up the dialogue because, like the information I just gave you, no lawyers are giving you, nobody else is giving you. It's not up on the Health Canada website, and people are telling you, look, 4 plants, but you're facing all this arbitrary restriction. I'm saying, blow off the smoke and mirrors that wants to put the proceeds and big profits into the hands of big corporations solely under a sole proprietorship. That's wrong.
Well, it's not even that.
What we're trying to tell you is that get your grow license, even if you're not going to grow. Learn to or get to know somebody that grows, because you'll be able to access cannabis for 10 cents a gram to $1.50 a gram once this market comes to realize that there's honestly, the cost to grow cannabis is not up there. The reason it costs $10 a gram in the underground is because of all the risk assessment that goes from the grower to the guy that packages, to the guy that has to mule it over to the next location, to the guy that sells it. Each time there's a risk assessment, so the cost goes up. What justification do these big corporations have for charging the exact same as the underground, other than they got to crush the underground with a price war? Really? 95 years of throwing us in jail didn't stop us. You think that price war is going to start now? This is just more, and save the kids. Put 4 plants in 50% of the homes in Canada, but protect the kids. Come on now.
Stupid.
Man, I'm on that tirade again tonight. But anyway, on the positive note, we do have a lot. Again, this is the reason I'm on this tirade is because I'm tired of hearing patients being railroaded that they have to get an ACMBR permit because the doctor's already on the lobbyist payroll. The doctor's already is saying, I'll only give you the photocopy and I'll only sign you up if you're willing to go with a licensed producer. And they're directly impeding Allard because of the Canadian Medical Association's suggestion of 1 to 3 grams. And in some cases, they suggest that the doctors not even sign. And they're trying to suggest that some doctors are more qualified than others to speak to the issue of cannabis. I suggest, where was their training? Given that the only experts in this country, as we learned in Allard, the only experts that could testify about being an expert grower were growers themselves. There were no experts on cannabis. Botany, yes. You want the botanical name of cannabis, it's cannabis sativa. Hell, a lot of us could talk about this shit all day long. At the end of the day, finally, the federal government of Canada has called it cannabis, but that doesn't necessarily work in our favor. When it was marijuana, it worked in our favor. See, when it goes into cannabis, now it's going to get a DIN number. They're going to put it back into pharmacopoeia. The doctors are going to be able to prescribe it. Provincial formularies are going to be able to cover it. And then it's going to be checkmate. And those that want to grow it will be like myself, the connoisseurs that know it and love it. And that's okay too. That is how the market, in my own opinion, I'm just going to go out there on a limb now and talk about this because I think we're not doing enough talking. And now that it's Friday and I've got working equipment, now I'm ready to get back to business. And when I don't have to worry about the glitches, I get to deal with the bitches. And the bitches is the federal government's policy. It's constantly been haggling patients. I mean, you got to think about this. We've been legal since Parker. This is what the rest of the world knows. Since 2001, we've been constitutionally legal in this country. But now, only now, you know, are somehow, we're not constitutionally, we've been caught in crossfire prohibition, where I'm going with this. Since 2001, when you could technically be legal to grow, no, you couldn't. They didn't teach you how, they didn't tell you anything. In fact, you were met with electrical safety inspections, you were met with hostility from police, you were met with hostility from
doctor
neighbors.
talked me out of it.
You were met with hostility from doctors.
My doctor talked me out of it and got me my ATP.
And we're seeing a similar platform now, though, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
I want you guys to listen to what I'm saying, because I've been doing this 20 freaking years. I can tell you now, listen to what I'm saying. History is repeating itself. Please, Canada, look at what's going on. That $1 million trial called Allard that everybody wanted to squawk about, it's paid for, it's done. That legislation was to protect you. It forced the federal government of Canada to allow us to grow in this country a reasonable number of plants. Now, if you're that grower that isn't happy with 4 plants, then my God, get a bum knee tomorrow and go see your doctor. Contact somebody that can hook you up with one. I'm against this federal policy, this seed to sale monopoly over Canada. This is wrong, just like I was wrong. So now I'm going to point everybody to grow and get to know your neighborhood grower. And so you can get a reasonably priced cannabis until this market can be free and fair in the country of Canada. That's one thing I will say, and then I'll stop tirading. Go ahead, Vicky. Let's change the narrative here.
Well, I think one of the most interesting things that we haven't spent a lot of time talking about is the consultation with tents. I know that when I was in Ontario, just before I moved here, actually, although I still only had my ATP, I was done with dispensary prices. I was done with mail order. I was done. So I was looking into, because I'd done some outdoor growing that summer, and I was finally looking into some tents. But the put off with the tent was, as a new grower, and establishing, like I had said the other day, just cracking seeds is really tough. So when you actually get into the price of the tent, you're looking at a few $1,000s when you get into your LED light and all, and when you're in Ontario, LEDs are the only way to go because the hydro man is killing you. So again, by the time I looked into outfitting what I needed for my basement, I was $5,000 later. $5,000 later, and you don't know what you're doing, you're like, oh hell no, you know what I mean? You continue with your mail order and your dispensary. What I find honestly the most interesting, and I think is going to be exciting news for people that are out there and new growers, is getting a tent through Cannabis in Canada and getting access to that consultation fee. Because again, when you're looking
There's
at
no
spending,
consultation fee if you get a tent.
no, if you get a tent, sorry, there's no fee. Consultation is free.
There's going to be limitations. I know that we'll get to a point where Canadians will start to see the benefits of this, whether you're growing kale or whether you're growing cannabis. You're going to see the benefits of a tent. And you're going to see the benefits of a beneficial lifestyle. And for those medical patients, and even those non-medical that have a little depression in their lives, man, growing a few cannabis plants does amazing.
It does amazing things for you.
Soul.
Does so many good things for you.
I can't explain it other than that. I go through grower withdrawal. If I'm not near plants, then I go through a withdrawal, and I can't really explain that other than how much I love the plant. But there is a lot of giving that plant does, not just when you use it, but also in the process of
every time you walk
it.
by it, it scratches you, and you get itchy, and it does all kind of good. You know what I mean? You know exactly what I'm saying. So you walk by it, you smell it, you're taking pictures, especially like me, again, new grower. I was taking pictures every day to try and, you know what I mean, watch the changes. It was so exciting and so therapeutic to grow my own. Yeah, it was just one old branch. Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot to it. It didn't matter. It was mine, and I gave birth to that. I love that. I brought that out into the sun and then brought it into, you know what I mean? I love those plants. And so for myself as a new grower, it's a big investment, but to think that I'm making the investment and I'm getting some support, then I'm ready to make the investment. So, if you're new to growing, or if you know anybody that's thinking about getting a tent, please contact Cannabis in Canada. We want to help. We want to help light up Canada, and honestly, get tents from British Columbia right over to Dartmouth. You know what I mean, and get Canada lit up. Because again, if you're new to growing like myself, and you go on to YouTube and you go on the first one, you're like, yeah, awesome. How to set up a marijuana grow. Solid. Open up the video. You're like, Jesus Christ, I'm no electrician, and I've got to put in all this stuff and pipes and drawing out air circulation and putting air in and putting air out. And I was like, oh my God, I just want to grow some weed, man. Right? This is way too confusing. Whereas a tent, easy. Set it up, boom, put your light in, talk to Jason, talk to the people at Green Planet, get your consultation, get your 4, 6, whatever plants you're growing, get that up and light up Canada. And show your neighbor. When your neighbor comes in, they're like, wow, I can't even smell that marijuana. You're like, that's because it's in a tent.
And I can't express this enough, guys. You need to look at what's going to be available. Again, what I'm proud to say is that good, bad, or indifferent, one thing that we stand by is truth, integrity, providence, and facts. That's everything that we stood by. We retract where we need to, and we fix. Yep. But one thing I can tell you is that being able to get those plants, go back to my oldest grow shows, it's when I had my largest fan base. It's because it's what I love to do, was teach people how to grow. I'm going to love, people say let's overgrow Canada. I'm like, okay, Dana, I get that. Let's overgrow Canada. But Allard already overgrew the government, so there's no overgrow the government. And we can overgrow Canada, but it isn't just by handing out seeds. It's by planting tents and seeds and equipment
and showing people
and
how
all
to
these
do
different houses and teaching them how to do it free, not charging them some big consulting fee, and getting them the tents as cheap as possible, especially if they can prove that they are disenfranchised in any capacity, meaning that you're on CPP disability. Well, then we should get you a rock bottom price and a payment plan that's possible for you.
We're looking into that. We're looking into
actual that backer that's willing to back us.
We can do everything, but we can't do a payment plan on the tent. But we are looking for backers to do basically to do credit for people. But right now, if you were to contact Cannabis in Canada, we can get you a tent at a great price, along with free consultation. So if you're even thinking about setting up shop, definitely email Jason and follow up. You know what? Well worth the investment. And again, every 60, 90 days, whatever you're cropping out at, it's amazing and it's a beautiful feeling, and the smells in your home, and just every day when you open up the little window and you peek in, you're like, oh my God, it looks so good in there. It smells so good. And there's a wonderful feeling in gifting love and medicine back to yourself. You know what I mean? Rather than waiting for the mailman. Fuck that.
Friends, as you can see, our equipment is stable and is running right, and we're going to run this show strong. And Vicky is sore. We're sore. My ass is sore, to be quite frank, from sitting here all day.
I can only go for about an hour, and then I'll...
But we're probably going to run this show for as long as possible, and possibly do some other giveaways. We're not
love
sure.
to do the giveaway.
Just so the audience out there knows, I think we may have to find a new way to do. You want to strike the back of that? Just hold your mic this time and strike the keyboard. And I'll keep talking. There's a keyboard right behind you. Yeah.
I'm gonna just turn this off. It's gonna keep happening.
No, you just have to
That's
strike
really
it.
distracting.
Just strike it. It lasts for 20 minutes instead.
No, it lasts like 7 minutes.
Whatever.
We'll see how long.
Okay, what was I talking about anyway?
I don't know. That TV thing distracted everybody.
Okay, what was I talking about?
I don't know. I was inviting
I just
you.
asked you to swipe it. Okay. I don't even know what I was talking about. I
Something
apologize.
about
If somebody can remind me in the thing, because this is, again, it's an easy swipe. Let's just swipe it, get it back going. The tent
Just
part.
keep talking, sweetie. Nobody's worried about the TV.
I was trying. I'm worried about the TV. I can see it friggin' die out, and it's a simple thing. I got to set the timer. You guys know when you can turn your monitor to turn off. Well, set to turn off every 10 minutes. So on break, I'm going to fix it so it doesn't turn off, and then we won't have this problem. In the meantime, my wife just has to turn around and swipe the keyboard to turn it back on. I'm sure you guys know what I'm saying. And at the same time, these tents is very important, but when we get back from Australia, the people helping us are not only building the website that will help us do this, but it's all linked through Green Planet Nutrients, it's all linked through Pacific Northwest Garden Supplies and our other sponsors. A lot of people, thanks to Allard, are doing very well in the hydroponic industry now. And because of that, they want to give back to the medical patients of Canada that made it possible for everybody to grow. Now, there's nothing bad or disingenuous about what's going on. All that there is the opportunity for us to put plants in this country, for you guys to experiment with what it's like to grow for 10 cents or $1.50 a gram. And most importantly, for us to get the talking table and for plants to become normalized, like aloe vera. When it first got declassified, it was very strange to see aloe vera out in the streets in the 60s and 70s, because it was once controlled by the CDSA. Then all of a sudden everybody had it, and we're applying it to burns. And then of course the pharmaceutical companies didn't like that, because their burn creams and everything else were useless, because everybody had access to this pharmaceutical herb. I see the same thing happening now with cannabis. That's why they're trying to restrict it. That's why they're trying to keep control of it. That's why they're trying to screw us over control of it. And that to me is where the only way to push back, build a 100,000 man army. Now, if there's 1 million estimated medical patients in this Canada, and there's 50% of the country that like to use cannabis, then I think
that's a whole lot of us.
I think we can put 100,000 tents in this country.
Me too.
In bedrooms,
easy
basements, and we're not altering suites. We're not punching holes in walls. We're not running air conditioners. No need to. No need to.
Nope.
Now, if you want to get into the bigger shows, to each their own. Do the bigger shows. I'm all for that. I'm just saying, for those of you that are looking to just pull a pound every 70 days, and you're happy with that, that's going to meet your needs because you're a weekend warrior, that's what we're talking about.
Exactly, that's what we're talking about.
This is the legalization that's coming. That's what we fought for. The seed to sale sucks. The government's got control over this. They get to dictate who sells it. They gave control to these big corporations.
Yes, they did.
And we, the people, can use our feet, and we can use our mouths, and we can definitely use our money by buying tents and investing in growing. Or not even buying a tent, outfitting your room. If you own your house and you can outfit it properly and get your insurance, do that.
Right on.
Tents just help you to dance around insurance and other factors.
I would say yes, that's awesome if you can do all that. But again, I don't know I can only speak for me. So I will speak in my experience. In my experience, if you've never grown cannabis plant, why they ever called it weed is beyond me. It does not grow like a weed. It actually is very challenging to grow. Those are tough nuts to crack. They need a lot of love, a lot of attention. Again, it's far from a weed. So to go from not growing to setting up a room, absolutely you can if you're like mechanically inclined, and you can set up a grow room, and you can learn how to there's so many different things that go into setting that up that for most of us, I would say myself, that was a recipe for disaster. I couldn't do all that and learn to grow cannabis at the same time. Mastering one thing alone was enough. So for me, the next step was getting a tent and then mastering growing. You know what I mean? Because I'd grown enough, outdoor that I knew that it was time to take it to the next step. But would I have done that and set up a grow room? Oh, heck no. That's just like way, way, way. Holy shit. Sorry. I'm not even sure how that happened.
So yeah, growing intense is a direct future, guys.
Yep.
It's definitely something that'll be happening. So
Maybe
this
the
sauce move down further.
There we go. Perfect. I don't know if it got moved again. Sorry, Jay.
Nothing got moved. But alrighty. What else do we need to talk about? Because I keep getting into these rants. But on the topic lines tonight, I had a few different things there. Most importantly was navigating the ACMPR, which is a little bit about what we're trying to talk about here now, is navigating the ACMPR. But that also includes knowing how to protect yourself. It's what I've been trying to talk about. Protecting yourself through the ACMPR is very much so protecting yourself under legalization. The ACMPR is access to cannabis for medical purposes. But you don't need to have a prescription because there's no medical value to marijuana in the country of Canada. I know I sound like a tinfoil hat guy, but look it up. Call up Health Canada and ask them, is there any medical value to marijuana? They'll say it's moderate, but we don't hold that there's any official medical value. It needs to be explored. Check into it. I'm not the rubber hat guy. I'm the guy telling you guys there's a hypocrisy in democracy when $20 million corporations can be set up under the guise of medical, and then Health Canada itself says there's no medical value to marijuana or cannabis. But I think we're only a few steps away from that, because if you go through the Health Canada site, they have a hell of a lot of information on cannabinoids now that they call it cannabis. Man, they got a whole lot of information, considering that they don't know enough to actually go past the point of moderate. But on medical applications was the other thing. I wanted to talk about medical applications. This ties into home growing. It ties into whether it's a tent, whether it's again, we'll be doing this as a healthy lifestyle show. We want people to see that, from growing kale to doing your own pressing at home to doing some cooking shows, cooking with cannabis, juicing. Again, by having your tent or having your grow room, you can actually juice, and that's non-psychoactive. But you get all the benefits of cannabis and then some. I mean, some of the boost that you get from that is just, it's incredible. It's kind of lost its flavor because people don't realize you have to have a fresh garden and fresh buds to really get real juice. The real juice that we're talking about as medical cannabinoid juice. Unfortunately, some people were juicing just vegetative leaves that have no trichomes on them. Well, you got nitrogen and you got leaves, and you got maybe some omega-3, 6, and 9 in the leaves, but that's it.
The omega-3, 6, and 9 are good though.
Hold on. That's no, because the nitrogen you're eating, I'd say, is bad for your organs. Anyway, when you get to the point of flowering, now a lot of your inner leaves, as you know, are covered with trikes, and then of course your buds have trikes. And you should be taking your smalls, and you should be taking your fan leaves that you got to get rid of, and taking those, cutting them in half. The ends tend not to have trichomes, the upper parts do, and you can start juicing with that stuff. Either way, juicing is juicing, but it's another way of recycling the plant and using everything that's there. I think that's an important part of it.
Me too.
But wow, it's Friday night, so we're not expecting a lot of people to be on. We have to get out for dinner a little bit later, so we're only going to be on for so long. But yeah, if it's Friday night for you guys and you're just kicking it around, we're just doing this show and yeah, talking a little bit about still 420, what went down. Next up is going to be the Vernon Cup. That's coming up in Vernon. Vernon, BC, up at Silver Star Ski Resort. I will be giving tickets out here on the show. They're in the mail, is my understanding, so we will be giving shows out for our friends up in the Emerald Triangle. I haven't been able to confirm that I'll be going. Cannabis of Canada has sponsored the event, and we will have our people up there. It's just myself and Vicky, due to our trip to Australia, we're not sure yet. We're seeing whether we can work it in. If we can work it in, then we'll fly up and be able to fly back and then jump onto a 23-hour flight to Australia. That's a possibility, but yeah, it's a bit of a too far of a drive from Vancouver up there and on two people, and then to expect a 23-hour flight. We're already dreading that, to be quite honest. So
yeah.
But yeah, what else do we want to cover? Because I had a few different things in the topic line there.
Quality of life.
Well, quality of life is important. That's part of my speech too. I mean, this is, I do a lot of ranting, a lot of raving, and people don't always understand why I do that. And it's passion. It's passionately speaking about, I don't know, cannabis has just given me a life. I mean, HIV took my life, and at one time it was just, I used to counsel and speaking in public in front of kids how not to become like me. And I use cannabis, but I never thought that I was going to become a cannabis activist. Phil Lucas, the now vice president of Tilray, and the founder of the Vancouver Island Capacity Club Society, was my mentor. So when he got me onto the 2005 National Steering Committee, that really opened me up. And after that, I started my YouTube channel in 2007 to teach people how to grow, because I learned on the National Committee just how ugly the situation was at the federal level with respect to what was then called marijuana in the country Canada, spelled with an H. Again, lending to the slang that they love to use, and it is very unfortunate. So we're back over to this cam now.
Oh, it is totally.
So yeah, and it is Friday night. I know that that a lot of people got stuff to go out and do. So just let us know if you need to head out, and it's not a huge deal. We'll probably be yeah, we're heading down to our dinner meeting, and then I think down to the beach is the plan.
I'm going to
for
be
the
bouncing
weekend.
soon because my back's just, I don't know how, I've heard from other people that they're having a flare up, but I'm in the middle of a rough week, so rather than sit on here and look awkward, kind of moving around trying to collect myself, it's better probably after the commercial. I'll
cut the commercial now.
Okay.
You don't need to be suffering on the show. That's
no,
for
that's
sure.
silly.
Okay, so guys, I'm just going to cut to a commercial break and let Vicky sign off here. We do have to get out for dinner. She has tried a few different shows to get on, and it just doesn't work. And that's that's dealing with illness sometimes.
Yeah, I'm having a rough
I'm going
week.
to try and soldier this through for the purpose of the sponsors in the show and for the viewers. And yeah, we'll see you guys after break. Here's the Beard Brothers recent video, and I'll also play some other stuff from 420. Thanks. Welcome back to Cannabis Canada with Jason Wilcox. We are kicking it here today at the Beard Brothers Society. Now this is where it all began. Compassion, end user, we the people that own the plants deserve to be able to explore as many applications, and the Beard Brothers continue to do that for the end user. They help the patients fight for our gardens as we move forward. Now we're here to continue to push back for them. Soldiers of the coalition, please stand up and support those who supported you.
Here at Beard Brothers, our in-house staff are very knowledgeable, and they're well aware that not everyone is the same when it comes to using cannabis for medicine. If you have any questions regarding your particular ailment or how cannabis can be useful to you, we look forward to hearing from you at our shop. One of the reasons to choose Beard Brothers is our stance that patients come first. We've proved this in the past with our advocacy through the Cannabis Rights Coalition and through many interviews with Jason Wilcox on Cannabis in Canada. If you come into our shop, one of the beautiful things here is all of our products are at a high quality and an affordable price so that no patient has to suffer with low quality meds or lack of meds.
Like we've fought for patients' gardens and growers, we're also fighting for a free and fair market now. So that's why you want to come down here and support the Beard Brothers, because we are here to support you. We want to be able to have mom and pop shops. We don't want these big corporate conglomerates trying to crush us and bring us down. We're here to fight, and we're not going anywhere.
We're located at 849 4th Street here in beautiful Victoria, BC. This is our storefront facility. We also have our online mail order service. As you can see by the beautiful display case behind us, quality is always number one.
You do have a right to medicate yourself how you choose to in this country.
And welcome back to Cannabis Canada with Jason Wilcox. We are kicking it here today at the Beard Brothers.
We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke and I'll be lighting up that weed. We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke and I'll be lighting up that weed. Smoke weed like Bob Marley, getting high and I like to party. Mary Jane stimulates the brain, she blow the smoke, take away the pain. My dream house in my greenhouse with a flat screen and a big couch, half baked with a big bomb. Smoke it all till the weed's gone. Smell so good, my weed strong, my money stacking, my weed's long. Smoking Keisha, Wiz Khalifa, Snoop Dogg when I'm around the reef. It's beautiful when I roll up. It's like fine art when I burn it up. Smoking loud, we gon' turn it up. Smoking loud, we gon' turn it up. We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke it, I'll be lighting up that weed. We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke it, I'll be lighting up that weed. Put your lighters up, let's spark one. Get high, let's blaze up. It was a long day, we lighting weed, we smoking, we don't give a fuck. Roll up, no stress, smoke weed, no protest. 420, we live, vibe rolling up in my weed ride. Put your lighters up, let's spark one. Getting high, let's blaze up. It was a long day, we lighting weed, we smoking, we don't give a fuck. Roll up, no stress, smoke weed, no protest. 420, we live, vibe rolling up in my weed ride. Grinding all this weed, we gon' have to break this up. Mary Jane's my main bitch, won't you come get fucked up? Oh, you don't smoke no weed, well I can't say what's up. In memory, yo whack ass, when I light this up. Rolling it up when I'm blowing the weed, smelling the smoke and you know that it's me. Puffing on good and you know who it be. Smoke like a hippie, come fuck with a G. Light it up when I blaze one, light it up when I blaze one. We gon' smoke piff when that haze come.
Smoke piff when that haze come.
We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke it, I'll be lighting up that weed. We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke it, I'll be lighting up that weed. Put your lighters up, let's spark one. Get high, let's blaze up. It was a long day, we lighting weed, we smoking, we don't give a fuck. Roll up, no stress, smoke weed, no protest. 420, we live, vibe rolling up in my weed ride. Put your lighters up, let's spark one. Get high, let's blaze up. It was a long day, we lighting weed, we smoking, we don't give a fuck. Roll up, no stress, smoke weed, no protest. 420, we live, vibe rolling up in my weed ride. We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke it, I'll be lighting up that weed. We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke it, I'll be lighting up that weed.
White hot with a
Okay, welcome back to Cannabis in Canada. And I'm going to be running this one solo. Vicky's out. She's unfortunately, when you get these flare-ups, I don't deal with that due to my ailments. And I do deal with flare-ups with HIV, of course. But it's different when you have when you've been in a car accident or anything along those lines. It definitely makes a difference. But anyway, I'll carry on with the show here, and let's get up the topic line going with the ACMPR and some additional topic lines, and also I got Justin messaging me. I'm gonna see, maybe I'll pull him on through Skype, because it is a Friday night. So yeah, and I might even just do something silly like do a giveaway, and yeah, who knows, order someone a pizza or something stupid. It's Friday night, and obviously my dinner is now going to be off for White Spot. There's not much we can do when we're sick, but it is Friday night, and it's still, thank God it's Friday, because our equipment's working, and that's what matters. Is we spent a lot of, or at least myself and my daughter spent a lot of time today really trying to dial this in and figure out exactly what the problem was, and we still, now that we've sourced it out with the help of other technicians and stuff, definitely happy about that. So, oh yeah, the other thing was the James Hudson interview. Now I was talking about this earlier. Now Mr. Cheech Marin, we all remember this from when we were younger. Cheech is like, that's, there's Cheech and there's Chong. Now I've smoked with Chong. Tommy and I have smoked way back, and everybody, most people in the cannabis culture have had an opportunity that have been out at the events to potentially smoke with Mr. Tommy Chong. But Cheech has been out of the scene for a while. So to see him come back in this movie in very much so a dark light. It's not the funny, happy-go-lucky Cheech, but it's more of a not a dark light, but more of just a more serious side of what the cannabis industry would be in lieu of legalization. So I'm actually pulling up the trailer for this now. I'll be able to play this for you. You guys will be able to hear this. I'm just hoping that I did this the other day, so this isn't the. I'm doing this each day because I'm proud to have interviewed the gentleman. So after I play this, I'll actually play the interview that I did with Mr. James Hudson, who is again the lead actor in this. He's the actor, producer, writer. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But let's take a look at the trailer here. This is coming out in June, and this is a trailer. You can check it out. Dark Harvest. All right, we're gonna have to try this one more time with me actually putting volume up. There is volume up. All right, one sec here. Sorry guys, one sec here. I'm not quite sure why I can't get volume coming onto my system, but yeah, that really sucks. Huh. So anyway, I'm gonna keep playing with this here, but usually that trailer works, and I can't figure out why I can't get audio sound coming out of my system. But either way, it was kind of cool. It is a really good trailer, but I can't get it to play. Maybe I'll just close my. Oh, the stoner moments. This is Cheech right here. Shit. This is what Cheech birthed. This is what Cheech and Chong birthed. Is people like us. We're the next generation of stoners. We're very, very good at what we do. But shoot, let me try and pull this up again. I know once I plug my headphones in, for whatever reason, I end up losing my sound. And yeah, here nor there. And I still can't hear nothing. You're good. No, you can hear me, but I can't hear what I'm trying to play for the audience, unfortunately. And I don't know why. That really sucks. But and I can't plug this in either for them to be able to actually hear it in Screen Presenter. So shoot.
Megan rocks. She's like, no way, successful stoners. I love it.
Yeah, we are successful stoners. You know what? We're persistent stoners. I promise you that. We are persistent stoners, and that's evident. I mean, look at me. I got a mic hanging out of me. My wife's half dead over on the couch. You know, we got dabs all over the place. We're the epitome. We're the epitome of good stoners. I don't know why this audio doesn't work. It's frustrating me because I really wanted people to hear this, and it sounds cool. And of course, it comes through my headphones. They're laughing at me. But yeah, no, it's I don't even think this will play through here. This will sound like dumbass. So let's go speaker out. You see, it still won't play the sound. Anyway, I'm just going to keep it going. But guys, let's talk about medical applications of cannabis, because one of the things we want to do, if we were to do a show here on Cannabis in Canada, guys, what would be the first show you'd want us to do with respect to medical applications? And I cannot figure this out for the life of me, why this will not go to audio. But yeah, it's frustrating. Even through my audio set, it's like my audio is dead. So anyway, I'm not going to keep playing with that. All I can do is suggest checking out.
I'll post the.
Yeah, I'll actually grab the link here and try to do the same thing. Go into Facebook. So we're just going to do this on the fly. I'm going to keep this going. I'm going to keep dabs going. I'm going to juggle this. And please share it around if you're bored on a Friday night. My dinner is now off, so I'm just going to continue running this. And with my sore ass, the good thing is we've got a half pound of weed. We got a couple ounces of hash, and we got a lot of shatter from the Beard Brothers. So if I have to do this, I can get rid of my ass pain by simply medicating. That's what stoners do. So, you know, if you're in my position, that, you know, you're at home on a Friday night and you're medicated and you're just fucking sitting around, then let's get sessioning together and talking about the crazy ass situation we have going on here in Canada, and have some fun with it.
Let's open it on the TV. Turn the TV volume on and throw it on TV.
Yes, do that. You're smart. See, that's why you're my daughter. So I'm not going to turn the screen off. You're being silly. You're just going to have to move that back, and here, I'll pass you the computer.
No, you can't. You can't. It's not long enough.
Here. And get your ass in here and grab it. Stop being an idiot. Come on.
Get in there and get it.
Guinevere, I'm going to end up pissing people off more. You're offering to do a good thing, but you need to do it. Watch my glass. Is this coffee or tea? Nice. Alrighty. So while we set this up, she's trying to set it up so it'll actually play on the TV behind me, which will be the Dark Harvest, which means we got to turn the sound up on the TV too. Do we got the clicker for the TV? This is all live and improv. So you want Stoner Improv? This is Stoner Improv. Share around, let people know, and well, thanks, Oil Stevenson. You know, hopefully we motivate somebody, because honestly, it's all about empowerment. Dark Harvest. Just Google Dark Harvest. So we're gonna pull this up on the screen here, guys. I'm gonna pull away right now just for a second to Coalition Past the Present. You guys want to know why? Oh. You guys want to know why we're here? You guys want to know why we're here and why we've done what we've done? My daughter will find this here, and we will end up playing this. Actually, we might play it now. Okay, pause that. Oh, pause it. Open up full screen. I'll turn this right up here. 1 second. Don't push play. Now, guys, I just want to once again talk about this. James Hudson, Mr. A.C. Peterson, alongside of Cheech Marin. Again, James Hudson being the producer, the director, the writer, and lead actor. I mean, I get to interview this guy, and I did at 420. And when I say this guy, I mean, I've always wondered what it'd be like to be able to do that, to run your whole own show. And he explained it very well in the interview post this. But let's take a look at the trailer behind me.
In 2 weeks, the government's going to announce that it's totally legal. So my advice to you, if I was you, I would go to some place that's sunny every day.
Away from people like you and me.
Far away.
What do you think about leaving earlier, like a week from now?
Turn that light off.
The last drop. We're done, that's it.
How do you say marijuana in Spanish? Prison.
Someone cut 105 plants down and killed them.
Where's my glass?
Whatever you do, don't go to the old spot.
Find this guy. See how easy it is for the people?
No. We're just looking for a friend of mine. Real Freeman, black guy with a beard.
You know anybody some full plans? No, that'd be pretty weird. I don't know if I should be calling you.
Turn it down a little.
Smells like marijuana. Are you out there?
What do you mean my dad?
Just killed Frank. Up there! This is the cop's last chance to settle your scores. I'm turning on the payoff to get this guy.
Find out you're lying to me, I'm gonna kill you and whoever you're working with.
Yeah.
Bear trap thing's coming down on you, brother.
Bear trap thing's coming down on you, brother. You can tell I've seen this a couple times. All right, well, there it is. There's the whatever you want to call it, the trailer. Sorry, whatever you want to call it. Obviously a good dab. The trailer for Dark Harvest. Now that's coming out again. Google this if you really want to watch it. It's an amazing trailer. I can't wait to be at the grand opening and hopefully blaze with a few of the people that were involved with the movie. Of course, the stars that are involved with the show. Of course, they never want to talk too much about what they do and don't do officially related to cannabis. But yeah, like thanks. Officially, what they do in relation to cannabis, which is normal, because of course they have to cross a border, and that's something else we talk about tonight is crossing the damn border. Now, Vicky and I went to California and back, but we didn't get screwed with till we came back into Canada. That's when we got screwed with.
So crossing the border is important. You know, these stars, they come back and forth across the border, they star in these movies and they talk about using cannabis and they session in open public, but yet they don't get questioned at the border. And other Canadians, unfortunately, get stopped and questioned. And I've been lucky that I wasn't questioned around my cannabis use. I was just simply asked what I was doing and where I was going, and I answered the questions in accordance with the law. And when we came back, it was different because my wife had a Dr. Dabber in the bag, and it was kind of hard to explain what a Dr. Dabber was without getting into all the laws. Our second camera angle shot here too, wherever Guinevere is.
I can fix that. Slow and steady wins the race, though.
But
Do you want me to go up, down, side to side?
no, this needs to be right over to that side. And then here, I'll throw that switcher up. There, that's good there.
That's pretty good, eh?
Yep, perfect. Works. Looking right at you guys. Anyway, just screwing around and having a good time as best we can. I'm gonna start looking at, hey, Bonnie's in too. Yeah, we still haven't done that $250 giveaway yet, Bonnie. Honestly, we had to get all of our gear working. I mean, we had a few hiccups this week, and we normally don't do 4 shows a week, that's for sure. And because I'm saying, thank God it's Friday, the next couple of days, Fridays are always with family time and time off for us. So we tend not to do shows on the weekend. We tried a couple, but this week it was all about getting this software fixed and getting it all operational again, as it should be. It's not always easy to figure this stuff out. It was extremely complicated, actually, in this case, because it all had to do with drivers and software conflicts, and that gets very confusing. Luckily, I went to school when my daughter was born, 18 years ago. Wow, I'm outdated. But yeah, I went to school and learned a little bit about being a technician, so that helps in situations like this, that's for sure. What else did I want? Check, yeah, we're good. Check, we're good. That's good, Vic. Thanks. Sorry, guys, there you go. It's on, and it's on, and it's on, and it's on, and we're gonna keep it going. My daughter just has to change out this battery. 2 cameras. One thing I knew is a second change up. So there's that distillate. So again, the Herbal Passion guys, you want to look for this. Now these guys are launching soon, but you want to look for this, and I'll start dabbing on some of this tonight actually. But distillate's the way to go. Again, if you're getting the real distillate. When I say the real distillate, I mean, guys, it's a business, and this is where the problems come in. It's like oil in the old days. Only you could tell green oil was bad, and you know, golden oil often meant good, but it wasn't always guaranteed, because in the golden you couldn't necessarily see residuals of bad chemicals or whatever. You could just tell it was processed properly. Very similar today with distillate. It's very much the same thing. So it's important that you know, you get out of it what you put into it. So if you got good people running good distillate, then you're going to get a good product in the end. And that's what we've been dealing with recently. And I've been trying to figure out this distillate game. As soon as I was finished on the first one, is that back up and going? One sec here, I'll just switch it over, make sure. Yeah, we're good. I don't know, you got to get that out of there. That's on your side. I don't know why you're doing that to me, but.
It's not on my side, that's your side.
Sorry guys, just yeah, a lot of us are hurting. So there, that's back on, that's operational. What was the problem with this a minute ago?
There was some sort of gray box.
Okay. Anyway, we're back operational, and I'm going to try and do this with no distractions. I can't wait to have a real studio, guys. Anybody out there wants to invest in ass seats? I'm not even fucking joking. Invest in ass seats, please. You want to sponsor us? You want to get your logo up on our shit? Get us ass seats or chairs that are really comfortable for 2 disabled patients that love to do this show and share information. But man, we can't sit in these chairs that often. I mean, I'm sitting on one of those donut things you wear around your neck right now, just to try and cushion my ass. I mean, it's honestly, it can. Now I'm rolling over my hash. That's not good. So, yeah, still got a couple ounces of hash here to. I had some people that were looking to get a hold of some, so I wanted to make sure we had that available. But let me see if you ever. Let's just try to get this out of its packet. I don't know where my knife is though, or scissors or anything. But yeah, the gel cushions. Yeah, you know what, Evelyn? That might be an option. We looked at those when we traveled across the country. I actually got a massage. I got a massage chair here somewhere. God damn it! I got a massage chair here that massages your bum. And I got one here. I bought it when we drove across the country last year. But you're smart with that. That's just it. Ash cushions. But we can get. If we could get a friggin' sponsor though that wants to help us with that, man, that's even better. Because really, we've seen some kick-ass chairs. We bought these ones; they were like $100 each, but they're not the good ones. When you look at the really good ones that they have for people that are actually dealing like with Vicky with a blown-out hip, or myself with degenerating bones because of all the pills I've taken over the years, it makes a difference. Yeah, that's the chair I need. So I'm gonna switch out of this thing, and at the same time, be able to show you guys. Yeah, we're seeing a couple ounces of hash. That's kind of the gold stamp. And of course, the natural remedy. Yeah, it's just not focusing. Back it up a bit. Yeah, allows it to focus. Where'd you go with that? Okay, well, if you don't got a plug, then why'd you get me to stand up? Man, my kid's like... She's the best help at times and some of the best distractions at the same time. You gotta love them. Anyway, this gold stamp hash, guys, you gotta check out thenaturalremedy.ca, and we just did our giveaway yesterday. They have all the different imported hashes, and this is what matters to me. I wanted to say we're bringing hash back. There's domestic hash, and we can talk about making hash all day, and I'll gladly go to war with any hash makers that are out there that want to discuss how we make it, where it came from, how long the East Indians made it, how they make it with, overseas. At the end of the day, I can't take away from the fact that red Lebanese and that gold stamp and that, all these, the Arabic sunset, all these different strains that I remember, or different hashes I remember from when I was a kid, they haven't changed. So it's the same gold stamp, like this in this case, that it was when we were a kid. It's the same people, the same process, and yeah, it's the same effects. And most importantly, it takes you back to a different place. It's a lot more inexpensive. Surprisingly, being imports, it's a little more inexpensive. But maybe reset your browser, Bonnie. It's tough to say. We're broadcasting perfect today. What happens when we're broadcasting good is a cache. Needs to be reset once in a while. That's something that definitely needs to go. But yeah, and we'll definitely be getting in touch soon, Bonnie, to talk more about just exactly how we want to do this $250 giveaway, because then we want to do a special show dedicated to that. And the other thing, guys, we also have people out there. We're not sure how we're going to do our giveaways anymore, because unfortunately people out there are choosing to report the good-natured giveaways that we do to Facebook, and that can be something that can get us in trouble to a degree. And we had to that extent, we're probably going to have to look at different ways to do this now. So you can thank your trolls and your haters out there that we have.
They reported me, actually.
Well, they reported Vicky, but to me, it's one and the same. It's a company, it's a family, and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And we'll have different ways to work and for you guys to get a hold of our sponsors, but we have to be a little more cautious about what we do, unfortunately, because people don't like how we like to help you. So it's a sad thing. But it is what it is, and there are rules in place for a reason, and sometimes we need to follow these rules. And this is one of those times where, it's not worth the outcome, and that's an unfortunate thing. That and I don't think that's driven by anybody other than just people that are just unfortunately envious and jealous or spiteful that sick and dying patients and people that otherwise probably couldn't afford it or they wouldn't play are getting the opportunity to try free cannabis. But it is what it is. The distillate, Jason Barboza that's on today, he's one of the people that won the distillate as well. That's the stuff there. You gotta literally warm this stuff up in your hands to kind of get it to come out. So I guess you guys can't really see that. This camera is so good if it's at the right focus. I don't know if you guys see it there either. In front of the camera. Maybe in front of the black. Nope. I don't know. Anyway, you guys get the point. The distillate's all about the constitution of it, or the consistency of it, as well as, of course, when you try it, because it can be very deceiving. So definitely, it's one thing that I've been happy with is the distillate anyway, and the continuing searching of it. In fact, I can't do all this stuff at once. Yeah. So sorry, I was just going to say, and we do have when it comes to the distillate and everything else. Again, expect more. I would like to say that we would have that available now and be able to get that out to you. But the people that I'm trying to, the people at least that have asked me for my opinion on what patients would need, I've tried to give them, because of course they're not licensed producers, and they're looking at how to get the best price point and the best products out to the patients. And some of these products are distillate and other products that people would want to use and want to get at the right price point. And there's people still willing to get that out to you. See, that's downtown Vancouver. Sirens going all the time. We do have footage as well. I showed the trailer for Dark Harvest there, but I haven't actually went through and showed you guys the interview for Dark Harvest. So this was at 4/20/2017 at the 10 by 10 foot or 20 by 20 foot, whatever it was. It was a huge Beard Brothers tent that was just going all day long. We have a lot of video that I'm still chopping up and editing from 420, and as well there's 420 Toronto. We're going to run through some raw content that hasn't been chopped up, and we also got Justin Loaizo's speech. So yeah, it won't be a long break. I'm just going to do the Dark Harvest interview first, and one other commercial. Then we'll be back, and I'm going to see if I can get Justin on the horn. And if I can't, then we'll play some of the 420 footage as well, just so you guys can see the different. And I'm very proud of Justin. I mean, this kid stepped up in 2012, I think it was 2013, at a conference in Toronto, and came to volunteer for the coalition. And from that day forward, him and I have been friends, and he has warriored the whole way through to protect his garden, to the point now that he stands up on stage in front of 10,000 people and gives away a marijuana plant on stage and says, "I believe enough in this, and we love you." You know, I mean, that to me is something I'm very proud of, to be associated to this kid and to see him come up the way he has. So a huge shout out, a lot of respect, and we'll get into that when we get back from break. Thanks.
He's going to be 71 in a couple months. He's relaxed and he's cool, and he's got a lot of confidence. One of the things he told me before we started filming, when he had the script, but I had some changes. We were in his hotel room in Vancouver before we started filming, and I said, you know, here's some changes. How do you feel about them? And he just said, I did 5 years on Nash Bridges. I can handle any dialogue at any time, and so give me what you got.
Nice. Now,
so the answer is no. He's not like the 6'4" lowrider driving guy, but he can put that on in a second.
Right. Okay. I want to get back to that. We're going to touch back because, again, Tommy, as you know, is a real weed head, and so he really does represent the cannabis culture, if you have it. Now, on that note, now here in Canada, the Canadian government has tabled legislation to legalize, and in my own opinion, monopolize, but basically allow large corporations to sell cannabis in the country of Canada, while maintaining a heavy hand of the law on anybody that dares, you know, share a joint or share even genetics, so they can teach each other to grow. How do you think this movie ties into legalization, not only for Canada, but around the world?
I think it will be a historical piece because it takes place while marijuana is becoming legal. And that's it's gonna be legal soon in Canada, United States. It's heading there. So it's a slice of history, and I think that, you know, it's a crime movie. There's a murder in it, and my idea with any kind of political thought that might be floating around while I was making it is what a waste that it's been illegal, and we've had police resources policing marijuana, and what a waste, because now it's legal and we wasted all that fucking time, money, and people's health, you know.
100%. No, they have. No, I can get onto this for hours, but right now I'm concerned on just side note.
Okay.
Now, how hard was it to get someone like Cheech to work in a movie? I mean, honestly, a Vancouver, Canadian-based movie. I mean, to get Cheech to come and work for you. I mean, I honestly, the first time we met, so I have never, it's not like you're a well-known producer or something. And how hard would it be to get Cheech to come in and do this movie and to see your vision?
It was based on the writing. So I wrote the movie. It's the most authentic weed movie you would ever see. There's a lot of growing in there. The technical, everything with marijuana is authentic and legit. And so when he got the script, he told me he liked the writing and wanted to do the movie. Whether it was the plot, the descriptions of the marijuana, and the technique of growing marijuana, so I think it's a combo. It was a challenging role for him to play. He liked my writing, and part of my writing was authenticity that he would have recognized in the first page. So he said he liked the writing, and he said, let's do the movie.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's a bit more to it. I flew down to his house, we talked, and there's a lot of stuff behind it. But
on that point, when you flew out and talked, was that intimidating? Like, did that seem intimidating? Like, it was.
It was, because there I was so excited that I had Cheech involved in the movie, and then it was time to go meet him at his house. And it wasn't, we hadn't filmed yet. There was nothing really signed, so the deal was still loose. And I rang his doorbell at his house in LA, and he kind of came shuffling out, and I was like, oh fuck, here comes Cheech, and then he's 70, so he's not 30 whatever when he made Up and Smoke, and he carries himself like he's kind of like the Yoda of pot. Anyway, so he brought me into his house, and he has, like I said, the most amazing Chicano art collection in the world. So his house is an art gallery.
Wow.
And we hung out for a couple hours, talked about his life, my career, his career, and then after 2 hours he said, yeah, let's do this movie. I like the writing. I'll come up to Vancouver and do it. And then we spend the next 2 hours looking at art, started to kind of form the relationship. So yeah, he's been really good. He's been he's been a mentor to me. He always gives me advice about how to navigate me being a director, writer of movies, because he made Born in East LA. He also wrote, directed, and starred. So I think he sees me as a young up-and-comer, and he's been mentoring me, and it's been beautiful.
Wow. Okay, as an actor now, you mentioned you shot this in Vancouver. As an actor, what was it like to one then be actually acting with Cheech and then doing it in your own home country?
It was cool because I'm from Vancouver. I was born here. I was born downtown. I'm a Vancouver guy. This is a very Vancouver film, and the great thing that turns out with Cheech is Vancouver is an incredibly special place for him too. He lived here. This is where he met Chong. This is where Cheech and Chong began. He has super, super fond memories of Vancouver. He said this is the best city in the world. So when he flew up here to do it, he was happy to be here. We walked around downtown. He showed me where him and him and Chong met, and old stories about Chinatown. And he felt comfortable here, and it was really cool. It was really cool.
What made you want to get into a cannabis or a marijuana movie, if you have it? What drove you to want to see that? Aside from maybe legalization, that's going to be my guess. What really drove you? Because it's a lot more to just to talk about making a movie than to actually go and put all that you have into what you believe in this. So yeah, what drove you to it?
I'm a young filmmaker. I want to make more films. I wanted to make this film as a noir crime drama, and being from Vancouver, where marijuana has been so huge of an industry, it's hard not to know somebody that grew pot or sold pot or smoked pot. And so there was enough people around there was access to the authentic nature of the world of marijuana. And Vancouver being my city, I was able to just bring it all together and say, I'm making my debut noir movie is going to be in Vancouver in a marijuana world.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Nice. Okay, now what can we expect? Now, first off, this is Dark Harvest, the movie. It's called Dark Harvest. First of all, now you don't tell me, I know you can't give anything away, but the movie Dark Harvest, first, when is it released?
It's going to come out in May or June 2017, this year.
Yes.
Yes.
So what's again that day one more time?
sometime in June 2017.
There you go.
We're working on really close.
Cheech Marin, and yes, now Dark Harvest. Just maybe give us your own paraphrase or whatever, or parable as to why did they call it Dark Harvest based on now you.
Okay.
Why did you call it Dark Harvest?
So this is.
I should say why did you?
Why I called it Dark Harvest? This is the most authentic weed movie ever made. It's completely legit. And it's I don't want to give too much away, but it's a noir movie. I like the juxtaposition of dark, and when you grow marijuana, it's all about light, and a harvest needs light, so I like the juxtaposition of that. So I wanted to make a noir crime movie in the marijuana world, and it's coming soon, and it's Cheech's first marijuana movie in 30 years, and it's not a comedy. He plays a godfather of marijuana, and it's a very serious noir thriller.
What's coming next for you movie-wise? What are you thinking in your
I've got 3 other movie ideas I'm developing, and Cheech and I like each other, and we like working with each other, so definitely he's very high on the list for a next movie. It'll either, and how this movie succeeds through the marijuana world, what marijuana does for the release of this movie, because I've got other marijuana ideas, and if it proves to be this new audience that wants more of those movies, not the same movie, but I can make another movie that has marijuana in it. It might be a different genre, maybe with Cheech, and maybe that's my calling. But I have other movie ideas too, so I'm just trying to navigate the sale of this movie, and that will affect which of those ideas I'm most inspired to do.
Right on. James Hudson, everybody. Thank you, James, for coming on the show.
Thanks, man.
Guys, Google Dark Harvest. Get ready for it sometime in June. Again, we don't know the exact release date. The trailer's out. Check it out. I'm hoping I'll be able to air it on my show. James, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thanks a lot.
Stay tuned for more from Cannabis in Canada.
DarkHarvestMovie.com. Thanks a lot.
The Canadian government's getting out of the marijuana business. Canada's health minister announced changes to medicinal marijuana access. They're aimed at reducing crime, but many people think it will do the exact opposite.
He's one of 26,000 Canadians with a license to grow medical marijuana, starting to feel anxious again since the Canadian government announced the system's about to change. Soon there will be no more medical marijuana produced and distributed by the government, and no more growing regulated marijuana from home.
Jason Wilcox has been organizing the coalition against the repeal of the medical marijuana access regulations, particularly the personal production licenses and designated production licenses.
I believe in patient options. You should be able to go and have somebody grow it for you if they have the place and the room and the ability, or order it from a pharmacy or big business, whatever you want to call it, however the program is modeled. And then you should also have the right fundamentally, especially if it's to put in your own body, just like when you smoke it, you should have the right to grow it.
Health Canada will, if successful, only license large-scale commercial operators who produce our medicine at up to 4 times the current cost.
Government is simply hijacking and cornering the market, my friends. The issue is getting up to 26,222 legal growers, trying to get as many of them as possible to understand and unite and get on this file so that we can actually be prepared. So when Health Canada chooses to make their move, we're all prepared to take it on.
A federal judge has approved an injunction allowing current licensed medical marijuana users to continue growing their own pot past April 1st.
A court in British Columbia ruled users can continue growing their own pot for now. This decision comes less than 2 weeks before new laws for medical pot take effect in Canada.
This is huge news, and then so many patients right now, they're not suffering tonight. Tonight they're going to get to sleep. It's very hard for me not to get angry and frustrated as I think about the 500 plus impact statements I've read of people paranoid, and not just paranoid, God-given fear of going back onto pharmaceuticals because of what the government's doing now to medical patients. It's unconstitutional, it's not Canadian, it's unethical, and it's not right.
My doctor, he wouldn't take my MRIs, he wouldn't send my MMR forms, and through other things, like I was really having a tough time, but it seems that one major stressor, removing that threat of losing my guard by the government, even having the threat of armed guards coming into my home to make sure that it's shut down, really hurt me and hindered my healing. And that was the beginning.
I'm aware of people who don't have a medicinal license, who buy their marijuana from medicinal growers.
I would use the analogy though too, that we look at how many drunk drivers and people on pills right now are going out driving drunk and killing people. We police the drunk drivers, we don't throw all the cars off the road. And that's what they were trying to do with the patients, and I'm glad that justice stepped in and interfered and allowed the Constitution to have a chance to put the MMPR under constitutional scrutiny.
Right.
I just really hope that we all get what I think we deserve, which is freedom. And that's what this is all about.
The coalition of what's going on, these are people that are willing to stand up to the government with their endless amounts of money in pockets and, do what we can, hit the streets, hit the roads, canvass, talk to people, just go out there and promote to one person at a time, change perception and views by, articulating truth. And, I'm proud to be a part of that movement.
Now we're at $180,000 raised. What are we looking at over and above the $250,000 that we originally set out?
I'd have to estimate high. I'd have to say, look, let's shoot for $1 million, because who knows? You've seen the attitude of the federal government. They recently are putting ads on paid for by the taxpayers about the dangers of cannabis. It's just another herb.
There's going to be a lot going on in the next year. It's our one big historical chance. Either we make it happen or we don't.
It doesn't matter who you are or what you are. If you have a belief in ensuring that people's rights should be taken care of, you should be donating.
It's for the people. It's we the people who want this, and it's coming.
People needed access to these products because it helped prolong and help save a lot of suffering.
This is going to end. We're past the point of whether we will or will not win our gardens. We will. So yeah, you licensed producers, you better be worried. I'm not going anywhere. This is far from over.
I'm pretty confident that you're going to win. I mean, you can't guarantee it, but I feel like that's going to be a preserved thing, the right to grow your own cannabis for medical purposes, as it should be.
I think that we got a super strong case. I'm really looking forward to what John can do in the court, and I hope it's heard fairly and with an open mind.
I hope we legalize, but again, I hope we legalize with gardens so that there isn't this fight that I worry about between the underground, these growers that exist, and I know them. The BC economy is almost run by these growers. If that starts a gas war, then security is going to go up because the gangs get involved or real organized crime gets involved. I say, why doesn't the top down first recognize it as medicine, take it out of the CDSA, classify it as a safe and harmless herb it is, and put it into herbology, or put it back into pharmacopoeia and let the doctors prescribe it the way it should be, and look after the damn patients. At the end of the day, it's about the patients.
I'm back here now. I'm with Queese Hamilton. Queese, welcome back to Cannabis Canada.
Cheers. Thank you for having me. It's always good to be here.
Oh, I got everybody banging on this over at our tent. On the piece that you made for me, it was a $1,000 piece, and yeah, we've seen each other around. So what? You just had your big glass gala. How'd that go, dude?
That was wild. Honestly, hundreds of people showed up for the VIP night, and it was an absolute success. I couldn't have asked for anything more to have happened that day. Only good people showed up. Only good vibes. There was so much good food. There was good beer. It was just it was a night to remember. The dabs, everything. It was too much fun.
Right on.
Another one soon. Definitely.
Right on, and this is going to be a 420 to remember. We're kicking it here at the Beard Brothers Society tent, and with the boys here and having a good time. Queez, thanks for popping on the show. We'll do we'll do an interview soon, man. I got to get over and film your studio.
Absolutely.
All right, stay tuned for the next segue. Cheers. All right, I'm here with Brad from the Beard Brothers Society. We're at the Beard Brothers 10. Man, they've always got it going on. Glass jars, proper way to cure your bud. This is amazing stuff. The girls got it going on. Dabbing people out over here. Some amazing live resin. Brad, what's going on with Beard Brothers Society? Man, you've been hard at work.
You know, man, it's about the people, right? It's always about the people and about the patients. We're here to advocate. We're here to make a difference. We're here to medicate everyone to the best of our abilities, right? That's all it's about, right? So here we are once again down the beach today. That's like, what the hell, man? That's some awesome shit.
Absolutely.
Big step up for 420, you know, like this is a big transition for the whole community. Like everyone's got to be proud today of what's going on, right? Like look at this. It's like 3 times bigger or 4 times bigger than down the art gallery. Like massive, massive. Free and fair market, that's what we're here for, man. And if they don't give us that, we're gonna fight that for another 5 years, 10 years, whatever it takes, because that's what we deserve, a free and fair market. Every individual deserves the right to this industry, whether they wanna be a patient, whether they wanna grow, whether they wanna have a storefront. Everything should be available to this country.
Sponsor of the coalition. He's done a lot of work for the community. Beard Brothers Society representing here at 420 2016. See you in the next segue. Peace. Again, Winnipeg, Manitoba. Now, Glenn got raided at his dispensary and has since taken a very heavy stand to continue to educate people about the wrongs and basically shutting down medical marijuana dispensaries and shutting down patient access centers for reasonable, dignified access. Glenn, how you been keeping, and welcome back to British Columbia.
Thanks for having me here. Holding up pretty good, especially after seeing this. Like, why are they still prosecuting me for something that's done right out in the open? That's what I wanted to do, bring it out in the open. Let's get back to the community.
This is what keeps us so proud here in British Columbia, is because we're able to do this every year, and basically the city does not try to intervene. They can't at this time. So we need to really do this across the country to have a free and fair market so people like yourself stop being persecuted. Bigger question, why are the Liberals continuing to persecute when they're going to legalize?
Oh, I don't know. We're going to find that out, right? I said I'll do a Manitoba Charter Challenge to find that reason out. Why? Why are you still spending our money coming after me when I come right out in the open and said, here I am, this is what I'm doing, I'm going to give the money back to the community?
No, I bet, just in closing, I bet you're happy about the mandatory minimums being abolished in Canada.
I wasn't worried about it to begin with because I'm not worried about whatever they're going to do. Let's just do it.
That's it. There it is, everybody. Marijuana activist straight out of friggin' Winnipeg, Manitoba, Glenn Price. Thanks again for coming on the show, Glenn. Enjoy your 420. Cheers. Stay tuned for more from Cannabis Canada.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Alright, welcome back, guys. I'm going to try and get my mics checked here as best I can.
I'll let you know.
I can't tell which one's which. Is the top mic working? Is it reading me through?
You're good, babe.
Check, check, check. Does it sound the same as usual? There should only be one mic working.
Yeah.
Check, check, check. Alright, we'll just continue on from here. I do have to cut away to commercial break again once I... Yeah, the camera's fucked because the dog moved it again.
Ah.
I've gotten used to this. Hey, you want to fix this, please? This is like the head-on camera that's no longer head-on. Here, yeah. That's better. Oh, well. Well, at least our equipment's working. It's just us, our crew that's struggling now. But so be it. It's that time of the night. We still got a crooked camera. You want to look at this here? You got a monitor.
the TV's slanted, that means the camera's kind of slanted, I would assume. That's better. Perfect. Thank you.
No, you're correct.
So yeah, there, at least we got the camera straight, and I'm gonna go back in and try and check the chats. My wife's saying, get back in and start talking. You know, people enjoy it when you're on talking. I'm like, fuck, I got nothing to talk about. But whatever. You guys got dialogue you want to cover? I really want to just. I'd love to discuss what the issues are that are pending, but I think we've touched on them already. It's mainly the ACMPR, people's lack of full understanding of what the legislation that's tabled, what that means, and. Yeah, really how to protect yourself in modern day. And, you know, for years people thought getting a medical license meant you had to be sick. And, oh my God, heaven forbid that you do that and that you'd expose yourself to the federal government. I'm saying now they're going to pick you off like flies unless you protect yourself under the ACMPR, because otherwise you're going to be hard pressed in explaining why you have, for instance, you know, a half pound of cannabis sitting beside you in your house at any given time, or a couple ounces of just hash. I mean, whatever it is that you have lying around, when you have a grow license, you can have any of it. You know, I press this hash personally. Who fucking knows? Point is, you can have cannabis in all of its forms, and you can have it at your house. And there's a big difference between that. And again, a lot of people aren't gonna like this. People will respect it because it's free information. But this is stuff that's better saved for advocates and consultants that pay money. They get you to pay them money to give you this free information on how to defend yourself against the law. It shouldn't happen after you get arrested and after you go to court and after you get released on bail, then you go get a license so you can still smoke weed in front of the camera. That's all backwards. Protect yourself now. I've been saying this on my show for years. Get under any medical program because it protects you. In fact, when there's no medical value to marijuana, it's a fake medical program. And so they truly recognize cannabis for its medical value. And they can call me the tinfoil hat guy, but go check it out on the site. That's the best I can say. Health Canada says it best. In fact, Health Canada released for this year the what is it called? Health Canada friggin' Cannabis Act or whatever. Cannabis. I can't remember. It's their official position paper on cannabis anyway. And again, it's moderate evidence. So even in 2017, though they've changed it from marijuana to calling it cannabis finally, its true botanical name and its true pharmacopoeia name, they're now looking to once again. Sorry, I was just having this discussion actually with my kid. It's like my kid, people still know pot, weed, and branding like that, and I get it because that a lot of that was born from Reefer Madness. Moreover, the word marijuana is a fundamental word born of Reefer Madness. Weed and pot are just common slang that's used within your culture, but more so now that Canada's finally officially called it cannabis, and Ireland officially calls it cannabis, and Australia officially calls it cannabis. Once the rest of the world finally comes forward with the truth and goes back to calling it cannabis sativa L, its true botanical name, and starts healing millions of people around the world, then my kid will recognize what it is that I'm talking about with the word cannabis versus any other slang you want to throw on my God-given plant that I love, that heals people by the millions today. There's a little rant for that. I love to rebuttal anything. Anybody want to debate, let's debate. I truly love my plant. I truly love to protect it. And I truly don't like seeing it governed like a gun. Now the people would argue, well, Jason, I've had this said to me, hey, Jason, they've given back the plants. You know, what's the issue? And I'm like, I don't really have an issue, other than this is still Canada and this is still a place where we should have a free and democratic market. You know, this is a place where if you want to have a corner store, you should be able to, or participate in a market, you should be able to participate in that market without fear of persecution. Moreover, in lieu of legalization, you should at least decriminalize. Instead, we see more people get arrested than ever before with relation to cannabis. And we got an opioid crisis in this country. People are dying daily in the streets of Vancouver, and I don't want to get into a tirade, I don't want to swear, but the federal government of Canada has got their foot up their ass, as usual. They claim there's a crisis and then attack the cannabis issue. Because the cannabis issue is the most funding right now. It's got the most money. The people dying on the streets don't bring no money. Cannabis does, and the big lobbyists do. The big licensed producers do with their big corporations. My issue is that let's deal with the real crisis in this country. Let's deal with real harm reduction, and fentanyl and opioids is the biggest crisis. And cannabis can help cure that. So stop attacking the healing and start dealing with the dealing, which is the real street drugs, and get the hell off of cannabis. In fact, cannabis should be classified as a herb. Mr. Conroy agrees with me on this one. Many people agree with me on this, and I think that you guys should bring this to the talking table. Should it really be a pharmaceutical? Maybe when it's extracted, isolated, and put into a certain dosage for a certain ailment by a pharmaceutical company, sure. But should the plant holistically, as a plant-based medicine, should it be governed as a pharmaceutical or as a herb? Ask yourself that question. It's a $7 billion question for Justin Trudeau. Yeah, I can tear sometimes. But anyway, back to the ass seats. No shit. If you guys know anybody that either works in friggin' any sort of warehouses, you know, they do those resales of office equipment and they got those fancy seats, man, we'll even pay the right cost if it's cheap enough. If you're in the lower mainland area, hit us up. You want to be super nice, man, we'll plug gear for shit for months if you save our asses, because I'm telling you, it's the only thing hurting the show. And more than anything right now, our asses are hurting on the show.
I had to leave the show, my hips so bad. So
yeah,
honestly,
these chairs
we
are so
record shit for
bad.
life.
Like they look nice on camera. You guys
That's
don't even
it.
see them on this particular view, but they look nice on camera, but they sure as hell aren't comfortable. And then like right now, I've got like my one I bought when I went across the country. My daughter dug it out for me. It's a massage chair. So I'm not only sitting on a cushioned up part of the seat, I'm also sitting on a massage chair just to get through this video. So I guess it would be easier just to turn the camera around and sit on the couch, but then I wouldn't be able to run the board, whatever. But honestly, in all honesty, to build out our studio, once I get this stuff finally fitted the way I want, then I think that the most fitting thing would be finding an ass sponsor for our asses. And that may sound funny, but I'm telling you now that anybody that's done broadcasting and does long-term broadcasting understands ass pain. Anybody who's disabled understands ass pain. If you sat in a car and driven across the country, you understand ass pain. That's what I'm in, ass pain. And I just found out my goddamn bones are degenerating as well. Cannabis don't help with bone degeneration.
Are they bringing Dare back?
Huh?
Are they bringing Dare back?
Dare.
Megan's saying that Dare's coming back.
I fought Dare.
What? That's what I heard.
I fought Dare. Hey, just for the record,
know
I
you
did.
did.
My daughter's now turning 18 this year, and I'm very proud of this young lady. But when she was younger, she came home to me in 2003, I think it was, when I got my license up. I was growing in the house, and she came home to me, and she looked at me, and she finger in my face, and you're a drug dealer. I was like, excuse me? You know, and I wanted to have a talk with her. And she said, well, the police officer at school said anybody involved with marijuana are drug dealers. And that marijuana is a drug. And they didn't mention any part of back then, any part of the medical program. So, of course, I went ballistic. I went after the school. The school, of course, claimed ignorance. And I went after the PTA and the teacher association, or the parent-teacher association. They turned around and claimed, no, that's all Dare's all the police. You got to deal with the police. I'm like, okay, bring it on. Let's go, Dare. So I went after the police. Why are you not citing the federal policy in in Parker? Why are you not citing that there's a federal medical program that my daughter should know about, that her father has a federal permit to access it, and it does have medical benefits, according to the courts? They changed that language. Present day, if you check them, go to the DARE website right now, you'll see that they address medical marijuana, and hopefully they change it to medical cannabis. But they certainly addressed that from a fight that happened some 15 years ago between me and here in BC. It was a fight that I was ready to go the full distance, and so were our lawyers. It may sound silly, but it starts with the kids. You want to educate and change policies in your country? Educate your kids. Don't protect your kids. Don't go reefer madness 2.0. Educate your kids about the benefits of cannabis and how it might actually keep you off hard drugs. And educate your kids about hard drugs to help keep them away from hard drugs. Man, you hide it from them, then they want to go test. They want to go test the waters. It's backwards how we're approaching the drug policy here. We can look overseas to how they deal with drugs over there. People are dying in the streets. My God, here in Vancouver, this fentanyl crisis. I'm not a street drug user, but you know, I'm an advocate for people's rights, for liberty. My God, if you can save these people's lives, do it now. If you can focus funds and money, do it now on this issue of opioids and stop addressing this issue of cannabis just because these big lobbyists are paying the federal government to turn a blind eye to the big problem, which is the deaths in our streets, and focus on the lesser problem of the fact that there's people growing a little bit of weed in their basement. Man.
Rant on.
You know, you can rant. I mean, in tonight's show, again, this is just a freestyle Friday night show. I was planning to go to White Spot, have a few beers, eat some ribs, and quite frankly, maybe even drink a bottle of wine, because it's just down the street. It's been such a busy week, and I'm so proud. The equipment's stable. I mean, I could rant. I'll get back into good shows. You guys like the old shows where we rant, tear, and rave? Well, we can do that, and we can also have fun. We can smoke a lot of weed. We can give away a lot of shit. And again, there's trolls out there, unfortunately, guys, that are making it so our giveaways are going to have to be T-shirts and tents and stuff like that only. And that's just the way it's going to have to be, because unfortunately there's people out there that don't like the fact that we're helping you guys out with free medicine. So we have to kind of pull the plug on that in order to protect the interests of this show and to protect the interests of our viewers. So hopefully some of you understand that. And at the same time, when you see people attacking us out in public, maybe you can go around and attack them back and say, you know what? It's people like you that got this shut down. It's people like you. Your hate. You're just. I don't understand people that wake up in the morning and want to do it. I wake up in the morning and I look forward to doing this, sharing information and engaging with the public. You know, I look forward to getting to my job, and I look forward to writing my speech. You know, and thinking about how I'm going to talk to the people in Australia that I halfway around the world about what we're doing here in Canada. I mean, my God, this is what I do. I don't know how to wake up in the morning and be malicious and try to attack people's credibility, attack their name, attack their providence. I mean, people who do that, it's sad. But then when you start doing it and it's impacting people's lives, well, now you're not impacting my life as much as you're impacting those, because I don't lose anything. But the people I'm trying to get out and help, they lose.
Yes.
So if you guys are wondering why, then I'm just being honest with you. It's the trolls out there, and maybe it's time that when you see those people attacking Cannabis in Canada's name or my name or whoever, you stand your ground and say this ain't right. You know, we don't have thousands of people watching us because we're doing something wrong. It's just, it's unfortunate that there's rules in place, and though we're not cannabis dealing and we're not dealing in that directly, it's indirect. It's something that unfortunately, due to people's a few different complaints from a few different trolls, it's hurt it for everybody. So we find out a different way to do stuff, and in the meantime, there will be gifts like we did at the 12 Days of Christmas, which is just, again, they're promotional gifts from our sponsors, be it shirts, cups, different things like that. And who knows what might happen to show up in that package. You never know. Our sponsors just might pop something in there. But for the official sake of what I'm saying on camera, we can only give away X, Y, and Z. So, once again, happy to the trolleys. And, I know some of them are home laughing right now thinking, ha ha ha, great. I feel you're sick and you're sad at the fact because there's thousands of medical patients you just in fact impacted by not allowing them to access free cannabis. Because your own hatred for the fact maybe you don't have cannabis. I hope that you get help. I hope you get some cannabis, and I hope you see your doctor soon, because it was the wrong thing to do. But you gotta live with yourself. You gotta look yourself in the mirror. Me, I can look myself in the mirror and know I've done everything I can. I walk up to the limits, but I'm not gonna go over those limits. It's not worth it for my family to lose everything we've invested in because we want to keep giving stuff for free just to get reported on by the people watching us. So, anyway, I'm not going to keep ranting about that. It is Friday night, guys. Share this around, because what'll keep me going on this show, to be honest, will be you guys. Because I'm sore as shit, but I'm going to get into the hash. I might even get into some of these giveaways. I mean, I've got a couple ounces of hash here. I don't know who wants hash, who needs hash. I've got some other stuff here. Now, I may not be able to give it away via this show, but I've figured out different ways that I can talk about the weed, because it's my weed. I can talk about the hash, because it's my hash. And I can talk about how you can contact me off list. And that's 100% within the rules of Facebook. And we'll keep it at that. Okay? And again, there are no sales. We're talking about how we can help each other out. So, language is important. Let's learn this as we continue to usher in legalization. Welcome to legalization. This is what we're going to deal with these obscene rules. These we have to tweak and advance and adapt ourselves to these different situations. I also wanted to give a shout out to my brother out in SoCal. Oh, shit. There he is. In here. Let me just fix this up here. Mr. John Mendoza, there he is, SoCal OG. That's we were out there at Abracadabs, and this was in California, and I had a chance to not only take part in the awards giveaway, but we now got the footage that we're going to start working on chopping up and getting out there. And of course, there's Abracadabs coming up in Detroit, Michigan. So I look forward to attending. Hopefully the Michigan one. I don't know for sure that we're doing that yet, so I don't want to say to our friends down in Detroit that we're going to be there. But I think it would be pretty badass, having grown up in Ontario and Oshawa, to know that I used to go, that I actually crossed that border into Detroit as a kid. And to know that we could be going over there. Detroit's a pretty scary place. But to know that we could be going over there and doing a cannabis world fair That's kind of cool. And it's about time that the eastern seaboard of the United States open up a little more around the issue of cannabis and stop calling it kush. There's a lot more to it than just kush. I mean, seriously, you go to Chicago, there's kush, and then there's shitty weed. There's kush, and there's shitty weed. There's nothing in between. They don't understand strain diversity and strain varieties and the land races, etc. That's a whole other thing. That's what I mean. We're really privileged to live in Canada and to have this advanced knowledge of cannabis. Some of us. Other people are just, they only go so far with it. But for me, it was huge. Definitely huge. I'm not even looking at the comments in the chat. So if any questions, Vic, because you're monitoring the chat, if any
Yeah,
questions
you know what?
come up-
There's a lot of questions around, which is awesome. Oil 710 saying, you know what? I'd be interested in opening up a recovery home, and just
Yes,
looking for some pointers on how
recovery
to go
home.
about doing it. And also, Megan's like, how can I get involved? Megan would love to get involved with, you know, any sort of
Megan,
recovery
please
home,
send
which
your
is awesome.
Megan, please send your information to cannabisofcanada@gmail.com, like a cannabis CV, a curriculum vitae if you have it, and to our friends on YouTube, same thing. It doesn't matter with the internet. It doesn't matter what country you're in or where you belong. It just matters of what skill set you have, what you would like to bring to the table. Because we are, as you see, this is just a mom and pop operation now. Always have been. We've taught people how to grow for years. We've been on YouTube since 2007. And we're continuing to do this now. We'd like to take it to another level. When we get the right sponsors and the right money, we won't be running a studio out of our disability housing. You know, like we'll be able to bring you a much better thing. We're proud to have worked as hard as we have and to open as many doors as we have to do what we're doing now. And we'd like to go further. I mean, I'm working with Growing Exposed, and they're already got corporate sponsorship with High Times. So I'm very proud of my friend who's the producer of Growing Exposed, and why we get to bring you a lot of the Growing Exposed teasers and shows that I've yet to, you know, when I say teasers, the ones that like the trailer before they come out with each series. So that's important too, and to be picked up by High Times. I know a lot of people see High Times as corporate, and they are, but High Times to pick up Growing Exposed was established in 2015, and to see that already being picked up monthly in High Times, that's just huge. I'm just trying to pull over the picture. There it is for you. So that's the Growing Exposed website. And I'm happy to have been number 2 and number 4 so far, and they're profiling gardens from all around the world. That's the difference between that grow show and any other grow show that is out there. I've never been able to profile gardens from all around the world, that's for sure. What are you doing? It's fine. Walking distraction once again. I love this one. I try just you just kind of get it going. It's like but you know she means well. She's trying to help get these cameras focused, make sure I remember all this stuff. Anyway, I was trying to focus on what I was saying. What were the next questions? So the recovery house I want to get back to.
And you know what? If you know opioid crisis,
You close that window.
What kind of oils would you suggest for people to start taking to really to end the opioid crisis?
Oil again. The opioid, and you can't address the opioid crisis with smoking. Right? And let me get into this actually because this is a good question.
It is.
To look at this from the perspective of how you're going to use cannabis, I can only speak in the first person, and I don't know why our camera's crooked again. I apologize. Oh man, little things that just stress me right out. Just the simplest thing is that crooked camera. My dog just keeps hitting it every time my dog goes by. The camera just gets crooked, and it's just like Anyway, sorry. In the first person, I'll speak. Oxycodone before the coalition. I can play the footage. I actually got it here where I took on the police. But anyway, I was on oxycodone, 80 milligrams 3 times a day. So 80 milligrams TID. When you're on this dosage, and of course I came out of the hospital. They had me on morphine in the hospital, and I didn't know. You know, I get out and I had yet to be that because my illness had yet to take me that far down and to get me that sick. You know, so when I was that sick and hospitalized, they put me on morphine in the hospital. Then when they kicked me out of the hospital, not kicked me out, but they let you loose, they all of a sudden gave me all these oxycodone at 80 milligrams 3 times a day. I found myself gobsmacked on the couch. Oh man, I didn't want to get into it. Man, I was shitting and pissing, and we don't want to get into that lifestyle, man. You guys have been through it if you ever been put on this nasty drug. There's a lawsuit going on in Canada right now against this drug. But for myself personally, I had to take cannabis. I had to, switch off of oxycodone to morphine. Again, I had to get him to do it outpatient, as in a switch off to morphine. That was what I learned because I hospitalized myself 3 times trying to stop. And I used cannabis oils and tinctures. And now the thing is, when you try to smoke it, you're so damn sick, you can't even the smell of smoke will make you sick. If you're a real opioid withdrawal addict, if you really had to go through that fight, you'll know that even the slightest smell will make you throw up and make you start curling up in your stomach. So you will need to take the oils and the tinctures that don't invade the smell sensors that you're going to be able to do, and that you'll be able to get the rapid onset. So a coconut oil or something else that can get into your system before you throw it up. Remember, when you're going through oxycodone withdrawal, my God, what goes down usually comes right back up. So sublingual, something under the tongue. A spray, we can make alcohol sprays, we can teach you all this. You know, making alcohol sprays are relatively easy. They're tinctures that spray, that's rapid onset. This is how the best way that I dealt with it. And I used copious amounts of cannabis, and I ate a lot. When I was able to get food down, I ate, but I had to use oils and tinctures. I could not use cookies until I was way past that. I was already moved to Vancouver. And even then, it wasn't easy. Did the cannabis help? Absolutely. But do you have to gut it out? Yes. You know, I don't suggest going the kamikaze approach that I did. You know, lock yourself up in your house with a pound of weed and just go at it. That's not the best way. You know, you should be tapering and going at it. But the cannabis, directly, head on, through harm reduction. Man, I've been talking about this. My wife and I have talked about this. And I know in my heart of hearts that you can set up a recovery house here, and we can show through R&D, through just the right backer, just the right people and the right lead patients that already know the medical applications of cannabis, and you can apply this to not only opioids such as the fentanyl and opioid crisis, but you can apply this to street drugs, sleeping pills, anxiety pills, all of them. I mean, so many elderly people that can't go to the bathroom, you know, are stuck on all these pills. That's why they can't go to the bathroom. Then they get introduced to cannabis or cannabis suppositories, and all of a sudden they get to use the bathroom again, and they're amazed by it. This is what I'm talking about, the many applications. Harm reduction starts when the drugs stop. The cannabis isn't the harm, it's the harm reduction. The government would suggest it's the harm. This is where our problem lies. Now, how would you go about starting it? One, you file for a nonprofit society within your province and or your federal government. That would be your approach to nonprofit, because you're not going to be seeking profit. Second, you could then seek provincial. Now, this hasn't been done. I want to do this. And I'm sharing this openly because I want to see them up and operational. There's thousands of recovery houses around Vancouver that help addicts right now. They're dying daily here. And in front of my building right here, they're dying. And they need help. And there's thousands that get provincial funding to run these recovery houses to get people off street drugs. They're not even dealing with the opioids and the prescribed drugs. They're dealing with just the street drugs. But they run under that NA protocol. A drug is a drug is a drug. You cannot fight opioids with a drug is a drug is a drug. You can only fight opioid with reasonable approaches to it. There's ways to go about it. And I'm sorry to those that love the NA program and believe in it, but I don't. I've seen the NA program fail more patients than not. Harm reduction starts with safe injection sites, with allowing patients access, or people access. When you try to restrict them, say no, that feeds the underground. It feeds the addiction. It's why all drugs should be legalized. Look around the world. There's other countries that have been smart enough to legalize all drugs, and all the OD rates went down. The organized crime went down. Everything went down. I sometimes wonder if the government doesn't keep all this stuff the way it is, because they make so goddamn much money off the jail system, off the underground, and off our addictions to these pills, and our suffering therefrom when we go to the hospital and have to come off them. I know, because I suffered. I don't wish that on anybody, and my God, it is a crisis in this country. It's a crisis in North America. And it cannot be underscored enough, because people literally are dying daily here in this city. And they use not just from heroin. I mean, I remember when the China White crisis hit here in Vancouver. China White heroin hit here, and all of a sudden people started dropping like flies. But you know, it got corralled within a couple weeks or a couple months. It was corralled. This fentanyl crisis has been going on for a year. The death statistics are staggering. Nobody's doing nothing, but they're pointing fingers at the cannabis dealers. The dealers are the healers. Start pointing the fingers at the real dealers. Deal with the fentanyl, deal with the goddamn crisis, deal with the opioids, and start helping people and teach the true benefits of this plant. That is where my position is as an advocate and activist to this plant. I'm a patriot to this plant. At least you can choose to grow it, you can choose to access it, and you can choose to try to apply it and learn for yourself.
This is crazy. Like, this is where Big Pharma's gone. Like, this is exactly where you're at. Megan, who's watching the show, she's awesome. I was ready to sign up for methadone for fibromyalgia, which I have, which seems insane now that I can
I'm just listening to Vicky's question, guys.
Oh my God, I gotta cut
Can
in.
you just read the question?
She was being prescribed methadone for fibromyalgia. now she's growing her own cannabis. Thank God.
Yes, and this is another
That's
thing. This is actually stuff like that
That's what you're talking
we like
about.
to get documented because I'll give you an example. I've talked about my diazepam fight and coming off that. There was a time when doctors said, you know what, Jason, we'll put you on methadone to get you off diazepam. And I, from that point, dug into methadone, and now it's a 14-day withdrawal. It's a lot worse than heroin itself, and it's no fix. It's just another kickback. What I learned is that this doctor that wanted to put me on it for diazepam withdrawal, which is never used. It's not used for that. It's used for heroin only. You know, but they go and they tried to use it for diazepam. And what it is so goddamn addictive that they know you're going to be hooked on that the rest of your life, and it's fucking sad that they would make a patient addicted and have to be sick under the belief that they need that for their ailment, when really the doctor's just getting kickbacks off your sickness, and would have been mine had I not known better to say, fuck you doctor, I don't want your methadone. That is not used for diazepam withdrawal.
No.
It is, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry you had to go through that, and I wish doctors could be sued for doing this, because the pain of going through opioid, nobody should have to go through that. That's definitely something that to me will always hit home, because it didn't only impact me. I've seen it impact my wife, and I've lost a lot of friends who've died from opioids, and it's been accidental. It's because they were so pain ridden, and they got so fucked up they didn't realize they forgot they took a dose, and they took a little extra, and they just didn't fucking wake up. Nobody held accountable. Families wondering why. Everybody just looks to the doctor in the medical system. Where's the accountability lie? You can't underscore this, because people die again. They're dying daily, and again, as you criminalize, and all I see in the news is cannabis, cannabis, cannabis. And there was a time when I'd say that's great. It's great that we're legalizing, but why are we not looking as a social justice activist? I have to say, why are we not looking at the real problems facing Canadians, including the international issues around war? These are my concerns. That our federal government's more focused on cannabis, and our police forces are more focused on cannabis because of big money than they are about the real crises facing this country. I don't know who's going to stand up and fight for our people, but somebody needs to start fighting for our people and not the profits of the pen. I'm just trying to pull up the video here of Vicky when she came off of morphine, because it actually sets the tone. It's there's videos to still be released here. Sorry, I'm just gonna find this here, but there's videos still to be released that have Vicky where she's actually traveling with me, and she's coming off of this, and you can see where she's actually. So you guys think it's not just her. This is where we sat before we even left Ontario. I drove down there with Dano, and then we drove all the way back with Vicky. But Vicky had a plane ticket to come back because she knew she was sick. But I got her the oils, and I told her to try this, and let's see if we can do it. So those questioning whether oils work with methadone or work with opioids, please look at this, because my wife was on opioids, and she is now 1 year opioid free and still uses cannabis, and only cannabis. And I'm proud of that.
I might be in pain, but I'm...
Welcome back to Cannabis Canada with Jason Wilcox, the real cannabis in Canada. We're celebrating a win in our...
Hi, this is Vicky O'Brien, medical cannabis patient. I would like to share a little bit about the journey that I'm about to take with my partner Jason Wilcox as we travel coast to coast. As some of you know, we've been in Ontario for the month of June visiting family, and prior to my leaving to come to Ontario, I had recently been put on morphine due to my hepatitis. I had come off of all pharmaceuticals a couple of years ago with cannabis oil, and recently my liver acted up and I was forced off canna oil. My body couldn't process high doses of oil anymore. So I was forced back onto pharmaceuticals. And unfortunately that pharmaceutical was morphine, because it's the only drug that doesn't. It bypasses the liver. I was in the hospital for a short stint. Anyways, the long and the short of it is I was put back on morphine, and for anybody that's been a cannabis patient and suffered withdrawals and done that, to be put back on it was horrendous, to say the least. So that basically didn't allow me to take the journey back to British Columbia with Jason. As some of you know, Jay and Dano made the trip out from BC to Ontario in the car. we all decided to make this trip, I went to my doctor. You know, we talked about, I didn't want to be on the morphine forever, but this was the situation that I was placed in. Anyways, my doctor at that point decided that he wanted to taper me back off the morphine because my liver was doing better in his eyes, I guess. I'm not sure. But unfortunately, I still have a lot of chronic pain to deal with, and he didn't want to deal with my chronic pain. He only wanted to deal with the symptoms of my liver, I'm assuming. So he forced a taper on me, and he also forced a taper on me when I was supposed to be on vacation with my family. So this has not really been the best vacation because the entire time I've been here, I've been in withdrawal since the day and hour I got on the plane. You know, doctors play God in your life. You know, and for all that, the Rona Ambroses of the world that think there's no value to marijuana, well, you know what? I didn't feel very valued in my doctor's office when he decided to do a morphine taper when I was supposed to be on vacation. You know, that's our medical system. So anyways, the long and the short of it is I wanted to get off of the opiates anyway. I didn't want to go back on them. I just didn't have any other cannabis options. I'd run out of oils. Like I said, I couldn't take them because my body couldn't process coconut oil anymore, or grapeseed oil, or any oil. So I really was out of options. And I don't know, like a miracle of God, Jason had gotten some RSO, and so thank God he shared one of the syringes with me last week. And it was like a miracle. It was, relief came. It was truly felt miraculous. I wasn't running to the bathroom. I wasn't nauseous. I wasn't sick. It alleviated the withdrawal symptoms, the pain of withdrawal, so much so that I said to him, if I can get my hands in this oil, Jason, not only do I feel that I can tough through withdrawals, I truly believe in my heart I can make this trip home with you. So I'm supposed to be on a plane tomorrow on a Sunwing flight, and I've given up my flight. I don't get my money back. I believe in this oil so much that I gave up my $300 flight for no good reason other than to say, you know what, I believe this oil will get me off of morphine and it will get me home. So you know what, Rona Ambrose, for this, there's no medical value. You're insane. You're insane, woman. Any doctor that would send you home for 4 weeks on a taper, first of all, how the hell is that healthcare? There's no caring in that. I've suffered, my family suffered, it's been a heck of a month. But anyways, that oil last week, I got my hands on this oil, and I also did a tea with it, and it was like life-changing. And it brought me back to how I did my withdrawals the first time around, and I did my withdrawals with RSO. This time is different because I'm not only doing withdrawals, I'm taking a trip across the country. So I'm taking, probably the worst times of my life and extending it because I have serious back pain. But I truly believe it's possible with this oil. So I was able, this stuff is very expensive and it shouldn't be. This stuff should be the same damn price as my opiates, It shouldn't cost hundreds of dollars for me to be in no pain. This is crazy. This is hundreds of dollars. And I go to the pharmaceutical, I go up to Shoppers Drug Mart, and it only cost me $26 or like $36 for like 100 morphine. How can that even be right? You know what I mean? How can that even be right? How can it cost so little for something that's killing me and so much for something that's saving me? This is all on purpose, man. So, this prohibition, this reefer madness, it has to end. It has to end. I firmly believe that if this were in the hands of every detox, every withdrawal management center, and again, I was an addictions counselor before I became sick, I firmly believe that as a worker, if I had this in my hands and I was in a detox, nobody would suffer again. No heroin or opiate addict would ever suffer again. The pains of withdrawal would be a thing of the past. The running to the bathroom and it just taking over your life, that it would be a thing of the past. And I don't think any human should have to suffer. That's my thing, right? I don't think suffering, especially when we have access to medicine that allows us not to suffer. And for me, this has allowed me not to suffer. So today is my last day. Actually, last night was my last morphine. And today, thank God, is my first day of freedom. So we're going to open this up. I have a day one and a night one from the naturalremedy.ca. They're amazing people. They have They're the only place that I've been able to locate actually like high CBD and high THC. The last time I did this, I got a one oil. It was a one purpose, one thing did one, you know, and it didn't do everything. There's no one thing for all people. These guys are amazing. They have it so much so that they have like different oils for different issues, like different strains for different pains, like JL says, and it only makes sense, right? It only makes sense to me. So I have a high CBD one for the day, which is going to allow me to stay in the car with Jay and get home, but it's going to keep my inflammation down, my pain down. Not only does it do that, the owners of the company explained to me what it does for your brain. When you're in withdrawals, and anybody that knows withdrawals, you are in a state of crisis. Your brain is in a state of crisis. It doesn't matter what you do. It is so stressed out and you're frustrated, you're snappy, and you're all the things that you don't want to be. This oil here, this one, the CBD oil, actually helps swelling almost, that stress of the brain, not swelling, but it's stress. It actually alleviates the stress of the brain. CBD is an amazing medicine, you know. So this will not only, you know, assist the inflammation in my body and my back and my hip, but it'll also keep the inflammation in my brain, which is where all those crazy withdrawals are happening. It's gonna keep that at a calming state too. And for anybody that's been where I'm at right now, you know that there's nothing calm about withdrawals. So anything that can keep the shakes and all that shit down at bay, I mean, this is a miracle. This is a miracle. I am an addictions counselor. If I could have given this to one of my patients, just one client, you know what I mean? And they didn't have to suffer. I mean, it's amazing what we could do. No addict needs to suffer ever again if they don't want to. You know, I don't think that withdrawals, anybody should ever have to suffer again. So we are going to be making this trip with this, like I said, the inflammation one. And then for anybody that knows me, knows that I also suffer terribly with insomnia. So I have this crazy THC one that's for nighttime. So it's 75% THC and 5% CBD. I don't understand the science enough, but I do know that the THC one KOs me and it's amazing for pain. And this CBD one I haven't tried, so I'm pretty excited to see really how I'm gonna feel, because really the only one I've ever had was like the standard high THC oils, right? This is a whole new world for me, and I'm really excited to see how I'm gonna be feeling physically and mentally, because your mental picture is a big part of who you are and your day, right? So we're getting ready for this trip. It's pretty exciting. Sorry about all the tears. It's, you know, it is what it is. And as much as I hate where I'm at, I'm actually glad to be here, because I didn't want to go back on morphine, and without having access to these kind of oils, my only other option was being forced back on coconut oil, and I can't consume it. So I'd run out of options, and thank God for the natural remedy, because they've given me options that I didn't think I had anymore. And this is a blessing, right? A huge blessing, because I didn't want to be back on that damn opiates anyway. So anyways, enough of that bad, boring stuff. Let's move on to the happy, good stuff. We are getting ready for this awesome trip. I don't want to open up the trifolds because these are for people's dispensaries and their lounges, but we're all set up. Kelly K from the West Coast got us all rigged out. We got trifolds here. We got stickers. I'm not going to pull everything out, but I would like to pull out some of these t-shirts because they're pretty awesome. I don't even have one. Maybe this is mine now. So yeah, I love the hashtag. So we got some t-shirts, guys. We're coming coast to coast. We're going to be bringing the CRC. We're going to be bringing it to you. You know, hit us up, PM us, and hopefully we can stop, sesh, educate, and share information. And you know, the more of us get together, the better. We need power in numbers at this point, folks. August is right around the corner. And the more of us that get together, the better. There really can't be enough of us at this point. We need a Canna army. So if we're passing by your town, let us know, hit us up. We'd love to stop by and sesh. And yeah, peace out. Wish us well.
Hello, thank you for joining me. I'm Amanda McKay, and this is another episode of Growing Exposed. We're the show that takes you inside the world of cannabis growing. This week, we're going to take you to a garden nestled amongst an old-growth forest in a remote area of British Columbia. Of course, like most of our tours, this will be the first time cameras have ever been allowed inside. We'll introduce you to Justin. He's a 20-year veteran in the hydroponic industry, and he's going to lead us through this large facility from beginning to end. He'll reveal all their secrets and show us what they do to grow a high-quality strain called Super Kush. Let's get started with a quick rundown of what else you can expect to see in this exciting episode of Growing Exposed.
First, we take a look at how a 300-light garden keeps it cool.
They're putting about approximately 1 million BTUs. That's British thermal units. That's obscene amounts of cooling for a garden we're about to go take a look at that's second to none.
We compare the differences between a large operation and something anyone can do at home.
The environmental conditions are the same, no matter you're running a 1-light garden or a 300-light garden.
Next, we explore how this simple system gets big results.
So what you notice in here is wall-to-wall cannabis. There's 80 lights, and it's clean.
Dave Robinson shares workout tips for strengthening plants in a segment we call Teachings of the Garden Sage.
So by supplying your garden with an adequate level of air movement, the important thing is that all the plants are dancing.
Finishing up, we soak in the bright lights, smelling the sweet aromas in the flower room.
My hands are covered in resin. I wish you had smell-o-vision because it stinks beautifully.
Hello, thank you.
Alright, the mics are back on, I'm back on, and hopefully I'm coming through okay. So, that's what that is. And, I mean, also, I have another patient profile. I got quite emotional there before we got started, simply because, again, that opioid crisis. You can be a cannabis activist all you want in life, and you can be whatever you want to be in life, you know, as far as your work, but you can determine when you look yourself in the mirror if you're a social justice activist. If you drive down the street on East Hastings in Vancouver, and if you don't feel there's something wrong, then that'll determine for you, you know, whether this, I don't know, I guess for me maybe it's just an issue of humanity, but when I see people dying on our streets, even our street workers, even myself, I can go get a fentanyl, one of those fucking recovery kits, so I can help the person that dies right in front of my house.
Yeah.
Or the person that goes down, right in front of my house, to prevent them from dying. I can't remember what it's called, Narcanon or whatever it's called. This is my concern. And I don't want to dig too much into it because it goes from the streets to the richest people that deal with opioids. It don't matter who you are. Now fentanyl being laced into drugs and the fentanyl crisis of people just wanting to be so high, giving up so much. And like I say, once you're so much out of your brain, it's not that hard to take those extra doses accidentally. And this is a problem. And when you're taking stuff that's meant to knock out rhinoceroses and knock out elephants, you know, it's 50 times the potency that it's supposed to be for a human being. It's scary as hell. But no, in the news, all I'm seeing is stuff about cannabis, which is, one time I said it would be fabulous, but right now my emotions are off of that too. Patients are going to now be able to use that, but we need harm reduction facilities, and we definitely need to get people access to cannabis and be able to start teaching how cannabis helps with relation not only to opioids, but relates to all drugs, you know, that you may need to potentially get off of. I would also go to the point that if there's any drug, if I knew that my daughter was to get sick or had to go into the exploring with any drugs, over any drug out there, there would be cannabis first. You know, for a natural healing agent as well as for a recreational influencer. That's just my thoughts, based on my own knowledge and my own experience in life. But for us to be looking at cannabis solely and ignoring those people dying in the streets and only make it a headline once in a while because it catches the numbers, that's not right. And as a social justice activist, not just a cannabis activist, I can't just easily waive that there's nothing that should be done. There's 1,000 recovery houses here. Not one of them use cannabis to help those patients try to get off opiates. So again, whether it's street drugs, being heroin, cocaine, whatever, hard street drugs, you can use cannabis in the same implementation of a program. Now it may be ones that need to be designed for different things,
There maybe ones need to be designed for opioids, for instance, for oxycodone alone. There may need to be customized recovery houses that cannabis is used for different things, because there's different applications of cannabis for different ailments. There's different dosing, but I believe it can all be done in a holistic health center if there was the right investors, the right people. And again, they're not in it for the money. They're not in it because they're going to sell a ton of cannabis. They're in it because they're going to help a ton of people. That's the difference. That's where the social justice comes in. One of the most powerful, just before I come back, I want to regather my emotions and do a few dabs, to be honest. You can hear it in my voice, it kind of gets shy. My good friend Justin Loizos in Ontario, he's when I get back from Australia, you guys will see the Just Compassion show being aired through Cannabis in Canada, and we're happy to have that coming out of Toronto. But not only that, I'm happy to have Justin as a friend. But when I met Justin, I filmed this in his house and I directed this video, and it was very proud to have. It was one of the times where I got to actually capture a patient profile but not be in the video, and help that patient to be able to tell their story. And it really encapsulates what we were facing when they wanted to take our gardens, and what some of us really feared the most, beyond just the plants being taken, was what we faced should they have gotten our gardens. All said, here's the interview. It's a 20-minute break, so if you guys need to get your dabs, I need to stretch my legs, do a couple dabs, regather my thoughts, and we'll go from there. And I might even get Justin on the air here. I know he's just closing up Just Compassion in Toronto and heading home. And if he gets home in time, we'll get him on the air. But yeah, I love you all, and throw in the questions. Vicky's going to be in the chat while I'm on break. Throw in the questions. Let's get that out there. Let's show the love. Sharing is caring. It's Friday night. I ended up staying home simply because my wife's not feeling well. So honestly, sharing is caring, and that's what matters at this point. Yes, thank you, babes. So now I'm just going to keep the show going, and who knows, we get enough people watching, we start sharing this around to the different groups. There's enough of us Friday nighters that are stuck at home doing the exact same thing. We might as well session together and have fun, maybe even order some pizza and give away some stuff, who knows. But all said, enjoy this. This is one of the best patient next to Vicky's that I just aired there. I'd say they're both in that category. I've done over 600 videos on YouTube, and I've never been so impacted as I was to direct both Vicky's video and direct this one here with Justin.
Oh,
so
thanks,
enjoy, guys, and we'll see you when we get back.
My name is Justin Loizos. I'm 30 years old, and just over a couple years ago, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. I had multiple sclerosis for many years previous, but I was undiagnosed. During that time, I had actually begun to self-medicate quite a bit and increased my marijuana usage a lot, from maybe once a day in the evening times to reflect usually, and to about 3 grams a day, and without knowing why. And that went on for about a year and a bit of a confusing time, and I finally got diagnosed. When I did get diagnosed in 2012, it was March 1st when I got my official diagnosis, but it was actually a week previous when I was first admitted to the hospital. I went into emergency, and it wasn't within hours. I think it wasn't even 24 hours, and I was told I had MS. Usually it's a very hard disease to diagnose because of its manifestations. It can be interpreted in many different ways. And maybe I was just a little late to the punch, and I also have an extremely aggressive version of it, so it did take quite a fast jump on me. And yeah, so I was told by the doctor in the first night that I had multiple sclerosis, and it was interesting. I got a whole bunch of blood tests done and this and that and everything, and he came back and he said, "I have news for you." And I said, "Okay." I asked to be alone with the doctor, and my family was with me, and he said, "You have multiple sclerosis." And I was like, "Okay, does that mean I qualify for medical marijuana?" And he laughed, like chuckled, and he says, "At least you have a good spirit," something to that account, right? And it was interesting. At that point, I had no clue I just heard it, that was an association in my mind, right? That you would qualify for a medical marijuana program if you had a disease, and that was a program that I actually thought was a bit of a joke. I thought people used it as an excuse to get high, and I thought, you know, and I didn't know much more about it than that. I didn't understand marijuana's full potential as medicine, but I remember it was about the third day in the hospital, and I had someone bring me some medicine, some cannabis, and I was relieved. It was night and day, and I was able to get through the hospital, and it was nice. So that's cannabis. It's done that for me, like for a couple of years now and previous, and yeah, it's powerful stuff. And I don't know, it's emotional when I think about it. Towards the end of my stay there, after about a week, I got officially diagnosed with relapsing remitting form of the disease. And it's been interesting because of the nature of my multiple sclerosis, which is now just called aggressive, significant, and is that it's gone. They gave me many different diagnoses and different MRIs to test. So that's what they've settled with. But they technically call it relapsing remitting so that I can stay on for different drug therapies. So that's kind of it. One of the drug therapies that I was actually looking at was chemotherapy, and that's what actually got me into taking mega dosing cannabis, because I had used cannabis for about a year after my diagnosis, like through the MMAR program, using marijuana as medicine and learning about it and understanding it. But I hadn't started mega dosing until I was met with a decision to make. Right, it was a tough one, and even beforehand, I had talked to my doctor previously and telling him that I thought marijuana was a neuroprotectant, and he laughed at me. So that was sort of what the catalyst to me to begin to really study marijuana, but never to really begin to use it as I use it now. It was more in theory, but I understood its possibilities. So when I was forced, when I was given I was forced with the threat of chemotherapy to stop my disease, that was actually phase 1, because chemotherapy for MS has very poor success rates, and most hospitals have stopped using it. But there's a new procedure that's very rare, and it's available for the very few, like the 5% of the people who suffer from like just very rare disease. The aggressive version of MS, where it's a stem cell transplant, with a bone marrow transplant with stem cells, with a 5% mortality rate, and yeah. So I started using cannabis, and it was like I got a call about a week later from the hospital to go and start using chemotherapy, but my toe started to move, so I didn't go. And that was the beginning. And then I was out of the wheelchair that I was told I would never be out of, just from a magical plant, this plant here. Well, not this particularly, but yeah, it was big. And that's how I started megadosing cannabis. I was just forced. It was, what are you gonna do, right? You're never gonna walk again. And have to destroy my system to get better. Why? Because the experts tell me that's what I have to do at serious threats. And I'd not used any pharmaceuticals to that point, only steroids, which I was so afraid of, right? And I hate their harmful side effects. And it was interesting, like, my doctor, when I was there, I went and I told him and I showed him everything, and I went and I walked into his office, and we were almost high-fiving by the end of this is the doctor who wouldn't sign my MRIs, or pardon me, he wouldn't take my MRIs, he wouldn't send my MMR forms, and then he was able to, he said, I'll sign any amount you say. whatever you need. At the end of that conversation, I gave him some double-blind studies that have thankfully been done for MS that are done in other countries, but he was able to look at them. I showed him a whole bunch of peer-reviewed articles. I explained to him how it interacts with the cytokine cascade through immune modulation of the endogenous cannabinoid system, how it's a neuroprotectant that he once laughed at me for. And we had this great conversation, and it was incredible. He was on my side. And then I tried to explain to him that my garden was going to leave, and he said, I can't help you there, right? Well, you know what the interesting part was? My doctor thing he signed up for was the fact that I don't really ingest it, and I balance and pay so much attention to my dosing and what I'm doing, and I make it into a tea, into an oil, if you will, this like a cannabis tea, and this is illegal. The medicine, it's crazy, and that's what the doctors respect. He's like, oh well, we can get the dosage and everything down. So, I mean, yeah, it's. Pardon me. And that's the true medicine, you know. And I keep my immune system regulated through a constant dosage, what some would consider, once I thought was ludicrous, 20 grams a day. Ideally, I don't even get that, because especially now because of current complications with our medical marijuana program, doesn't help. Like I was getting assistance, where I'm no longer getting it to a certain degree. So, but it's okay. It's working out, and we're hopefully gonna get through this. But I was able to have my doctor on my side, and he said, "Oh, I'll do whatever I can to help you with this." And we have 2 doctors now. My third original neurologist, who was on side from the beginning, and 2 other doctors who will see me once every 6 months, each doctor, and they're starting to use or to monitor marijuana as medicine, and they're going to be taking MRIs and yeah, but. That's a huge step, and it's sad, because my doctor had no clue and nothing he could do or say, and he was sympathetic to the fact I was going to lose my garden. Like that was the time I was leading up before the injunction, anything, you know. And he said he was open to possibilities, but it was such a threat. I had no clue what I was going to do. One of the most stressful times. I was also going through a lot psychologically because of that, and through other things. Like I was really having a tough time, but it seems that one major stressor, pardon me, removing that threat of losing my garden by the government, even having the threat of armed guards coming into my home to make sure that it's shut down, really hurt me and hindered my healing. You know, it was tough for a while. So, but I think now it's been good. I've been able to keep my garden, which is so important to me. Like I'm able to come up with these different genetics. Like this is a plant that not many. It's just so special to me. It's a half CBD. It's what I'm drinking in this tea, actually, and that plant there is made into this oil, and some of those buds over there. And they're all different for me, and I'm always kind of searching for better strains and tweaking them and finding the best possibilities for them. So yeah, it's an amazing opportunity I've had granted to me. It's interesting. Another great thing was I wasn't able to have my initial dosage. Like I decided to infuse my after just everyone. There's no, I don't think, a really wrong way to have a cannabis therapy. In my research, and everyone's gotten great results from different ways of doing it, and some healthier than others, and for different diseases you might be more concerned for different reasons. Like for me, I have to take cannabis at high doses for probably the rest of my life. This is it. This is my road. This is my life. This is it. So I want to know that you know what else I'm going to be doing? I'm going to eat coconut oil for the rest of my life, and that's good, and they work real well together, so that's nice. It works for me, right? Maybe if I had a cancer, I don't know what I would do. So yeah, it's it's medical marijuana. It saved me, and it's so incredible, and I want everyone to know about it. Like, if you have MS, then you need to be using it. Like I said, when I was in the hospital there, it was like a relief. I was entered a different world, a new world. Like, and it was different, I guess. I'd already experienced, but I had that official diagnosis and that connection that it worked. Like, yes, that's something that's, I didn't even know it. Like, I was unnecessarily feeling like shit in the hospital for like 3 days. And all I needed to do was puff. Yeah, you know, so it's interesting. Like, that should be in the hospital, in every hospital. Like, here's your bud and your cart and your vape. And, yeah, that'd be nice, right? It would have helped me a bit. But it was great. I didn't have any problems in the hospital there. And jumping a little bit, pretty emotional. This is very true to me. I don't know. Yeah, so... I don't know. Yeah, so I'm actually really lucky in a lot of ways, you know, and I cherish this beautiful plant that I have, and I'm able to cultivate and make into my own medicine in different forms and various ways, and also learn that this is something that is designed to work almost perfectly with our bodies in really medical ways. I don't want to say magical because it kind of, you know, but it's incredible. It really is, and it's incredible. And the more you learn about it, like myself, I went from thinking that medical marijuana was a joke to now thinking that, you know, it's going to be one of the key elements. It is one of the key, but I'm looking bigger picture. I want to reprogram my mitochondria. I want to basically eliminate MS from my body. So it's only through cannabis that I will get there, but it's not going to be what takes me over. It's a few holistic, it's a holistic approach, and that's through proper eating, diet, living well, meditation, and not being stressed by the government, and fearing taking my garden away. That would really help allow me to heal. But that's it. I will get there. And it's such a long road, and it's a hard road. And I warn anybody that takes the road, it's not an easy road. It's not like you don't get rid of everything. You got to deal with some pain. You gotta give a little with medical marijuana. It's not a cure-all, what anyone says. Maybe for some cancers, and that's really, like, it does destroy and combats cancers, no doubt. But I mean, for even if you're a chronic pain sufferer, you're gonna have to learn to deal with chronic pain psychologically as well, like on a holistic level, and appreciate that you know, it's not gonna knock the pain out of the park every single time. But if you're lucky enough to be able to farm your own genetics and search, maybe you'll find that one that just gets you perfect, right? Or real close, right? And then you can cross it with the other one that gets you the other way that you need to be, maybe psychologically, and find something that gets you perfect in between. And that's kind of the next generation for me, the evolution of my garden, right? And finding the perfect medicine, because it's such a complex plant, and there's no experts that are certified special and really know everything, because it's been, you know, prohibited for so long, and it's this and it's a complex thing. I mean, the science, the chemistry, just our gardening aspects of it too. There's so much to it, and of course the culture, right, which confuses people, the propaganda, everything. It's interesting, since I've actually reached out a little bit and started talking to people, I've had more than a few people get in touch with me and ask about educating their parents on how to use marijuana as medicine, right? Because myself, I suffer from multiple sclerosis. So what I found through some studies that were thankfully done, that allowed me to realize that even ratios of THC and CBD would be best for multiple sclerosis for a few different reasons, but mostly spasticity, and it seems to work incredibly well for my bladder as well. And these are things that are they're difficult things to deal with on a daily basis, and I find that that drinking this cannabis tea and smoking CBD seems to work really well for me, but would never be enough for just. I need, like, if you look, this here is about my favorite plant because it's the great white shark shock, and it's a balanced sort of hybrid that leans maybe towards a sativa, I guess you would say, a little more less narcotic in its effect, and I find it really good because, again, I smoke a lot, I use oils, I'm basically always keeping my body filled with cannabinoids. I need to keep them running and modulating my immune system, otherwise I'm compromised. And that's it. Well, my immune system is compromised, but it'll take over, right? And I've had it happen. I was under threat when my garden was under threat of taken away. It just happened not that long ago. I was put back in the hospital again because I had to stop. My dosage has gone down. Even now, I'm treading low. I'm treading low on my medicine, and it sucks. And I can even see my stash is going down, and I haven't even put my plants in the harvest. It's tough, right? And I didn't have the support like I had during the MMAR. Because this injunction has put a lot of things in disarray for a lot of people. So I'm working on it, and it might be okay, and I'm a lot better off than a lot of people. But okay, it's difficult. It depends on the person, right? It totally depends on the person. If you're, like I said, the people who seem to be interested, because a lot of my regime focuses on not that much of a psychoactive effect. The truth is, though, it's just there's not much of anything that gives me personally a psychoactive effect. I ingest so much cannabis that I'm almost immune to it. It has to be like heavy amounts that would begin a psychoactive kind of. So it's I would say to risk and to reintroduce, because I find maybe that's who we want to talk to the most, would be people who have smoked cannabis in the past and have a weird association with it, whether it be just a party thing or maybe they had a bad experience and it was a bad trip, as you would call it, anxiety was created, something along those lines, or too stoned, something. Anyways, so you have experiences, and myself personally, when I was about 20, and there's a mystery part of me, no one has really been able to solve it, but it happens quite frequently, and it's when the developing brain, when it begins to take a shift in the early 20s there, and some people just stop smoking cannabis if they're teenage users, right? And you start when you're a teenager and you're smoking, you turn 20, 21, 22, and you smoke, stop. So if you're one of those people and you think that you'll become paranoid or whatever, like I couldn't smoke. You'd have to leave the room. It was the worst experiences ever. Try and maybe reintroduce yourself and don't be scared. But if you are, then maybe try and find a strain that has a little bit of CBD, because I think it's anything past maybe 4%, something like that, is going to begin to down-regulate most strains of THC, and you'll kind of chill out and really get rid of any anxiety, and it'll kind of make it a smooth high for you, right? And good medication. But it might not necessarily be the medication for you overall, right? So that maybe just be an entryway for you. So explore and be open. Also, edibles are great, but educate yourself. Really take it easy. I had a just don't jump in, and you could have a definite bad experience with edibles. So be careful and be slow and take it seriously. Very slow. Yeah, that's it. Just educate yourself. Take it slow and start sooner rather than later and begin healing yourself. I will say this though, the most important thing for me in cannabinoid therapy is supporting my endogenous cannabinoid system. It's number one. I think anybody, if you want to start cannabis therapy, start eating healthy, because that's what's going to happen. You're going to start supporting this, and you're going to start flowing inside of you. Your body will begin helping itself, right? And that's basically all it is. You're using these phytocannabinoids to come in and kind of give them a boost, right? And Why not do that by making your receptors as healthy as they can? There's doctors that say a dull receptor is a dead receptor, and right, this is your CB1 and CB2 receptors inside of your body, and so it's important. Support your endogenous cannabinoid system and start slow.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry, my TV. All right.
Megan would like to know, we have a great question actually. Sorry to cut in.
Yeah.
Megan would like to know, because this is a great question, patients go through this all the time. Can you, as a licensed medical patient, use your cannabis in the hospital post-surgery?
If you're
That's
using,
a great question.
it depends on the hospital. There has been, this thing's making noise. There has been, one sec here. Where does she live?
BC, I know Megan's in BC. Whereabouts in BC are you, Megan? I think up in Vernon Way. I'm thinking up of the Okanagan.
Okay, because we do have already experienced hospital staff and in university staff which have smoking areas here, even in St. Paul's. Official, unofficial, however you want to put it. When you're at St. Paul's, you go out into the smoking area and you can smoke cannabis, and you will not be challenged. Clearly, you can smoke carcinogens and cigarettes there in that context. Then you can have your cannabis. When it comes to smoking right inside your room, it comes to the issue that Ms. Lisa Kirkman fought diligently for in Alberta against ALS or ALH. Can you turn this light on for me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know where she put the charger. There's no battery.
Oh shit, that's why it's not working. I'm like, what?
Battery somewhere there. Well, I was gonna go to another. I was gonna go to another commercial, but I decided not to. So I just to put this on. The more we're cutting off behind commercials, just trying to show different profiles. But yeah, the lighting will definitely help. And there was the police one as well I was going up against, and then finally got the Beard Brothers Collective. Just helped to put myself on the screen. We're gonna play the 420 footage and what?
Or maybe I'm frozen. Hold on.
No, it'll go off the screen. It was just me. I had it stuck on there too long. What was the question again that you had?
Can you dab or smoke in the
In
hospital?
the vaporization issue.
Yep.
Lisa Kirkman fought this well. The vaporization issue very much comes down to the hospital. Now the problem is, and you guys have to hear both sides of the argument. The problem that activists like myself have fought in the hospitals is that the nurses and the doctors, of course, they say we don't want secondhand smoke that's going to get us higher or make us test positive on a drug test. And rightfully so. It's the same argument that was given to truck drivers in an argument in Ontario over who could smoke in a designated smoking area. This being said, the question of vaporization, secondhand smoke, and dangers of it become the issue. And HVAC systems. They have bubble rooms for medical patients that need to be bubbled up so that you don't have any sickness or contamination. I believe there should also be smoking rooms. Now, has it been necessarily implemented yet? I'm not sure which hospitals have. I know some have because of activists who've advocated for this, and they've been given a room. They can either go outside where they normally smoke, and you can smoke your cannabis there and be left alone. And some places do have HVAC systems where what I mean by that is exhaust systems that can actually pull the smoke out of there. And even in courthouses, like here in BC, Brian Carlisle and others fought for the right to smoke in the courtroom. Not in the courtroom, but at the courthouse, because they were at the courthouse all day and they had to have the right to smoke because they couldn't smoke out front without facing persecution. So little things like this have been done. Is there a national policy? It's sort of like the airplane. You can fly across this country. You've been able to since 2001 with cannabis. You can fly across the country, but here we are in 2017. There's still no airport policy around how you can fly with cannabis. Instead, they call the police, and the police have to then clear you. It's extremely embarrassing. And it's once again the failure of policy. So hopefully that kind of helps answer it a bit. What was the other one? You had another question that came up in there, huh? just showing my phone. Vic?
I'm looking, babe. That was it, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, So we have the 420 footage here still to show from Toronto. So I did show the interview earlier from BC here, and I've kind of got them lined up. Just they're in a kind of an ad hoc fashion. So they're just going to be little clips from Toronto's 420, and make sure we get those aired out, and get another dab of distillate ready, and roll another bit of weed, and yeah. Anyway, just make sure if anybody that wasn't attending 420, if you're at 420 this year, you might be in this video. And most importantly, at the end, I do have Justin's speech. So you heard Justin, the patient, talking about what he went through with Allard and his fight for his plants. Now you're going to hear Justin on stage at 420 2017 speaking to 10,000 people about his plight with the coalition. So we'll see you after break.
No worries, no worries. Just let me know when you're ready. Hey guys, how's it going? This is Bo Pinto from Just Compassion TV and Cannabis in Canada. We have our special friend here. Introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm JT from Crop King Seeds.
Awesome. And Crop King, if you guys don't know, is one of the largest seed companies in Canada. Incredible genetics that they have here. Tell us a little bit more about sort of Crop King's, what the options that you guys have available. Some of the, maybe some of your favorite ones.
Sure, man. I mean, and I hate to do it, but we are actually now, as of like 2 weeks ago, the largest seed company in the world.
There you go, the largest in the world. That's amazing.
We're the largest in Canada and North America now. Literally, is about 2 weeks ago, we're the largest seed company worldwide, and we are worldwide. We ship worldwide. So we have offices in Mexico, Denver, California, and our main office, obviously, out of Vancouver.
What's one of your most popular things right now?
Well, we have our few signature strains that do pretty well for us. One of our new ones that I personally have grown, it's phenomenal. It's the Cali OG crossed with haze. So it kind of gives you the best of both worlds. You're getting that nice haze effect, but you're also getting a little bit of that OG kind of couch lock. So it's kind of a trippy buzz, but it's really one to definitely taste for sure.
There's a lot of people going to be growing their own now, like with these new laws coming out. People are allowed to have 4 plants. So, what would you say for somebody who's like a beginner in growing that a good strain to start with if they're just starting out?
You know what, I generally recommend that beginners go with auto-flowering varieties. So the auto-flowering is a non-photosensitive plant, so it doesn't need a change of light schedule or anything season like that. It'll just go into flower automatically, say in about 2.5 weeks. So it's pretty like set it and forget it more or less. If you've got the right size pot, which usually about 5 gallons will do it in a decent soil, you really won't have to do a lot with it. You could grow it on your balcony, you could grow it in your windowsill. They're very versatile plants. Best thing to throw in your backyard and to mix with your tomato plants so no one will see them. Phenomenal. Yeah.
Is there any strain in particular that it's easier to grow, other than like as far as?
I'll be honest with you. All of our strains are pretty user friendly. There's only maybe about 1 or 2 that are more in the advanced level. But I mean, all the auto.
One of the more advanced ones.
Yeah, I would say the Cali OG would probably be more advanced. It's kind of I would say a bit of a finicky strain. But for the most part, I haven't had any problems with any of these strains, and I test grow them. So,
and honestly, man, as somebody who's experienced some of your genetics before, they're incredible, and we want to thank you just for everything you've added to the community and how much you guys contribute and help out. So, just want to say thank you so much, and appreciate it. Yeah, you too.
Take care.
Sorry, start again. Hi, this is Cannabis in Canada. I'm Justin Loizos, and we're presenting to you the Just Compassion Show. What Just Compassion is, it's a highlight on everything compassionate in the cannabis world, mainly focusing on medicinal cannabis through the transition into legalization. Here we are, pre-legalization, with a lot of great people who have been supporting our community for a long time, some of them 2 decades. I just had an interview with a wonderful Tracy Curley. I see a lot of familiar faces and a lot of excited people. Legalization is looming. I think we're on the cusp of a major victory, and the hard work isn't over. So we're going to call out on everyone to get active, to engage local politicians, local politics, and if there's an infringement on your rights, your charter rights, engage law. And let's do this. Let's get active, let's get engaged, let's get organized, and let's make legalization the legalization that we need, and make sure that patients in the future have dignified access from coast to coast. Justin Loizos, Just Compassion, 420 2017. Peace. All right. Hey, this is Justin Loizos, Cannabis in Canada, with a new show, The Just Compassion Show. First person I've ran into here, rightfully so, Tracy Curley.
Hi there. Happy 420.
Happy 420. There's so many faces across this country who I feel are responsible for what's looming, legalization. And one of the people who I know is responsible in many different ways and has been involved in the medical community is Tracy Curley. So if you want to just say hi, what 420 means to you and what do you expect with the new regulations?
Hi. Well, 420 to me is always, it's a celebration. GMM has always been our protest, but 420 has always been our celebration of this is us, we're coming out of the grow closet. And when we first did this 10 years ago here at Dundas Square, there was 30, maybe 40 of us. And now there's going to be thousands of people walking through here today. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
It is incredible. So yeah, we can celebrate together. I know this is going to help me celebrate. We got some pixie sticks here, which are just incredible treats for my friend. And they've been around and helping patients for a long time here in Toronto. So thanks again, Tracy. And I guess, what do you expect in 2017, 2018 with legalization? Are you excited?
I am. You know, as far as I'm concerned, it's a win.
Okay.
We've got a lot of things to fight for still.
Yeah.
But the fact that our patients now have access to LPs, they can grow for themselves, they can designate a grower.
Yeah.
Recreational users will be allowed to grow up to 4 plants and carry up to an ounce. I mean, and you don't have to worry about criminal records for simple possession. It's a huge win. The other things will be fought in court and they'll be fought by other activists and other patients. But at this point, you know, if you would have told us 10 years ago we'd be looking at legalization this 420, I don't know that I would have believed it, but here we are.
High five. All right, cool. So happy 420 and thank you.
And congratulations on the new show.
Oh, peace. Yeah, check it out.
Okay, so what's your name, first of all?
My name's Woody. Yeah.
So Woody, are you here for 420 right now?
Yeah, I'm here for 420.
So what does 420 mean to you?
Well, 420 to me is like a second Easter almost, right? But instead it's like the time where like you, instead of getting caught for it all, getting in trouble, you know what I mean? You honestly can smoke. Like all these people around me are smoking, you know what I mean? I bet you she's smoking, everybody is, you know what I mean? So it's actually pretty great.
And what's your favorite part about the event so far?
My favorite part is coming up to this city and this square, but my least favorite part is that this is the last year for it. So I'm here to get lit. Anybody else, like, it's just going to be a great time.
Awesome, man. And do you have a favorite strain?
Favorite strain? Yeah, it would be the Purple Kush that I do have in my pocket.
There you go. Thank you so much, my friend. Enjoy your 420.
Yeah, enjoy
Appreciate
your 420 too, man.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you.
Hi, how are you? This is 420 here in Toronto, Dundas Square. And we're repping.
All right. So tell me, my friend, what does 420 mean to you?
It's like tradition.
Most definitely. I appreciate it. This guy's got it all figured out. He's got the whole theme down. What are you up to today? What's your plan for the day?
I don't know. Go home.
There you have it, folks. Epic news. What's your name?
Andrew Sad.
There you go. Thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate it. Thanks for being on the show. That was awesome.
Get Mike Reeder to come for a dab when he has a sec.
Mike! Woo! Mike! I want you to come in.
Hey, who is this guy? All right, so I want to show them what you're dabbing me on. Is that a portable email? It is. This guy's got a portable email. What do you want? Where is it? Give it up, everybody, for one of Toronto's best, Mr. Master Glass. Check him out, make sure. a special guest, and it's going to be a lot of fun. This guy's done so much for the goddamn medical community. It's insane, so much so that he's bringing up a fucking live weed plant. So let's give it up for the live weed plant, too. Come on, party, give it up for Justin Loyos, everybody.
What an introduction. Thanks for Mike Rita. Big shout out to everyone who's been before me. Joanne, who last year had my favorite speech, who mooned the whole audience. So a big round of applause for everybody who's been up so far, please. There we go. I'm not that good at engaging the crowd. I just want to send a message here. Look, that plant, I was told that I would not be able to grow that plant in 2012. Laughed at by some wearing suits at corporate meetings. I remember being at one, we were at a banquet hall with all the licensed producers, some of them coming up to me and literally laughing at us, saying that soon our right to grow our own cannabis will be gone. So my friend Jason Wilcox in Vancouver, he put the government on trial, and then he mounted an army. Through that, here we are in 2017, and now every Canadian can grow their own cannabis. Every sick Canadian can grow their own cannabis under the ACMPR. So that's amazing. It shows that what you can do. If you ever thought your voice can't be heard, just know, stand up today. If you're upset with the legalization platform, get up, do something about it. Engage local politicians, your MPs. It's about us. Our voices were heard. Legalization only happened because of the activists across this nation. Some of them who are up here today, some of them who will be up here. It's about you. You can be that person. Your voice can be heard, and we can be heard together. Join the Cannabis Rights Coalition, and we will fight together. And we will free this weed for everybody, for this whole nation and generations to come. Thank you.
Come on, let him hear one more time. Justin Loyos, everybody, let him hear it. And let's give it up for the weed plant one more time.
Leave it here.
Leave it here? Hey, the plant is staying. This plant is so high right now. All right.
Sorry guys, I cut into that a little too soon. Just so you understand. Oh man, and no more dabbing when I'm on the show. They're good dabs, but I think honestly, there's such thing as dabber lung, and I think your lungs just go fucking fuck you. You can't do any more dabs tonight. Man. I almost just coughed my head off. That was raw content. Now, if you wonder how that was done, that was not edited or anything. I actually just did my best to time that. It's funny because I can't even hear it. So it was just a series of clips I grabbed from the footage that was sent to me. Right on, Maurice. Onwards we do grow. Again, coalition people. When you see someone like that kid with MS, when I met him, he stood at a booth and he worked all day handing out flyers for the coalition. He understood the mission, the mandate. He understood what was at stake. And the thing that meant the most to me about that kid, and I say that kid because he's a good friend of mine now. About meeting him was a shy kid that had MS, but had such great knowledge about the cannabis plant. Didn't have a fan base, didn't have a patient base, wasn't his objective. It was just, he knew about his plant. But he knew he had to fight for it. What the government was doing meant that he was going to face armed guards, in his words, which was police coming to his house and inspecting his house, and now they were going to take his garden altogether. So he fought like a medical warrior, like I did, like everybody else did in the coalition. But most importantly is he didn't just stand up and fight. He went from that calm kid that nobody knew to the kid with a voice that stood up and said, I have MS and I fight MS with cannabis, and I fought for my gardens and I won. And he stood up and did it in front of 10,000 people. Until you got up on that stage, nobody can ever underscore what I just said. Until you've been on that stage and had to speak to that crowd. And hats off to that kid, he's come so far. He also is the first person to ever run an Extract Express. Any sort of bus. Oh, I'm sorry, my throat shot. Any sort of bus across Canada out to Montreal, which was out to Ottawa, which was a huge thing. Going to the Supreme Court of Canada, nobody's ever dabbed down the Capitol, and it was something that we got to do. So, once again, hats off to I hate this. I have to cut away again and catch my breath. But it's okay. This part, I'm going to talk a little bit about this hash. And hopefully you guys can share this around. We can always kill it. It is Friday night. I don't want one of those things, but I figure there's got to be a few more other people out there stuck on a Friday night, kind of not doing anything. And yeah, I want to enjoy some weed information. Anyway, this was before the coalition, and when I had to actually take on the city of Abbotsford's green team. If you wonder why their faces are covered, I think it's more for people. I put this video out, it's more as education, and it shows people this was before there was a coalition. This was when I just had a grow show in a garden, and simply wanted to put a compassion club in the city of Abbotsford to help medical patients. And the response from the police was in this video, and this is after John Condor and I sued them for $8,000 for coming in and cutting my plants down to try to send me a message to get out of town. And after we sued the police, a few months later, or within 60 days, they came back with their green team, and Mr. Tusaw slapped him with a human rights violation for showing up with police at my doorstep. If you do have a green team come to your house, one, do never let an officer into your door. You don't need to. And two, they're not allowed to use municipal police and to exercise a municipal bylaw. See, the police are to enforce the law, not bylaws. That's by law enforcement. They're not to be mixed. That was a decision here in British Columbia, and I believe that it could be upheld across the country, but at least here in British Columbia, where the green teams are active, it'll help you. I got to recover my voice. Pay attention to this. Learn how to protect yourself. Do not let the police through the threshold of the doorway.
Okay, I'm recording.
One, two, three, four. Come on, I'm here with that for a second. I don't think that's necessary. And you got the top one up top, and the second one here and here.
Yeah, I'm gonna film it. There's 4 of them. Yeah,
just let me talk to
yeah,
him here.
there's 5 of them.
I gotta find out who their supervisor is. You guys got a supervisor that wants to do the talking?
Wilcox. Mr. Wilcox. These gentlemen coming up here are the inspection team.
Yes.
And they would like to do the inspection, but before they do that, they ask us to come in and make sure everything is safe for them. There's nobody hiding in closets or anything like that.
Exactly, and I believe that this case has been settled in Ontario, that
Yeah.
the police can no longer come in for home inspections.
No.
Oh, we can to come in and assist them if you allow us to.
I'm not allowed. That's what I'm saying.
That's
When
fine.
it comes to allowing permission.
Come and talk to these gentlemen.
I mean, I don't have a problem standing here with you, or if you guys want to stand even right here. I mean, at the doorway. I mean, I've contacted legal counsel. That's
Yes,
why.
we have.
It's nothing against you guys personally. Legal counsel said if they show up there with 3 cop cars, then no, you don't have to let them through your door.
Oh, we'll give
So
it
we
to
can
you.
phone Health Canada too.
We'll
I
give
know.
it to you. Anyway, Dwayne, do you want to explain what your
So
role was?
yesterday you were okay with 2 officers coming in the house.
No, I listened to 2, but I see 6.
No,
and
there's
it
more.
was
It's only 4 of us.
4, but
The
I
rest-
see.
the
Sorry,
rest-
I'm looking at 3 cop cars as well. What bothered me is the gentleman I spoke to. I think was it you that was standing there yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, it was
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
And I did say, I'm feeling bad because I don't want to seem like the bad guy here, but at the same time, you guys are showing up in force. My neighbors right now, God knows what they think, and I have nothing to hide. When all's said and done, I'm hoping that we can all get along. But this has been, how many times have you guys been to my house and in my basement?
Well, this is the first time on the public.
And what
safety
is your
team.
reason for needing to come in the house for safety, aside from needing to
Just
protect them?
making sure everything is to code.
You're police officers.
No, no, this is by law enforcement.
Okay, so you're coming in to do that. I'm saying, why do you need
If they're
him?
part of our team, they come for our safety.
We only come in for their safety.
Nothing
So
saying
again,
that-
against my request to not have them come in for your safety, you're going to go ahead and tell me that I have to allow these officers into my house without a warrant? Because it amounts to a warrantless search.
I'm not going to tell you anything.
I mean, it amounts to a warrantless search. That's what it does. I mean, you're asking me to let officers into the house that are then going to want to do a plant count and everything else
Yeah.
for no reason.
No.
unless we can agree that there's going to be some sort of, well, one, not 6 or 7 of these coming in, but rather that your team.
This is the process. One of us would stay out here with you and
That's
all the
fine.
other occupants. 3 of us would go through the house, make sure there's nobody hiding or any weapons.
Yeah,
any
no.
weapons.
You
And
don't
then-
search for weapons. You guys can get a warrant if you want to search
Yes,
for
get a
weapons.
warrant.
Let me finish.
No, you
We
won't be
would-
searching my house.
Okay, let me finish explaining the process. 3 of us go through, we make sure that there's nobody hiding in here. We come out, and the inspection team goes in while we stay outside.
There ain't nobody hiding in here. There ain't
No.
nothing for you to have any probable cause to believe
Yes.
that.
I didn't say we did.
Well,
We're
then
coming
you're
here
again.
to assist them, and they want us
And
to
I'm
do
saying
it.
that my understanding
That's
is that there's a legal case that you guys are
That's
not
fine.
allowed in. So I'm saying that
No.
if they would like to come in and if they would like to go down and do their jobs, they're welcome
with
to.
them.
I'll stand at the door with you so you know you're safe and that they're safe because I'm with you.
Well, we don't know that
And we
because
don't have to
know if there's
worry.
anybody else in
He'll
the house.
bring you
That's what
down.
that's why they ask us
Has
to
there
come.
been any threat to you guys? And you guys have been to my house 5 times.
Yeah.
And there's never been a threat to your officers.
No.
Okay,
So
Jason,
Call's yours.
what we'll do is we'll just get an entry warrant.
That's
Okay, I mean, it could just be so much easier just to let things roll. Like I said, we're not here to stop you from what you want to do, just to make sure the electrical and everything's to go.
I just don't understand why all the officers, guys.
This is part of our team, Jason, okay? It's nothing to do with you. This is
Okay,
a
am I
board-
going to get
we
this
go to
every year,
places-
guys? Well, I mean, I don't mind. Once this is done, am I going to get this crap every year?
yeah.
Probably not, but this is the first time our section's been involved.
Oh,
may have had
there
police
we go.
issues, but it's never been the public safety team. Okay?
Public safety team.
Yeah.
Warrant.
Okay, so
Different
the,
cities called the electrical safety
the searching
team.
for my house,
We're not
you're
doing
telling me you're going to
searches.
get. No, you just told me you want
Yeah.
to search for people in my home.
Yes.
And
Well,
that's my
Jason-
problem that I have. I don't want you
Jason,
going through my
we're
closets.
gonna leave, okay? We'll just get the entry warrant. We'll do things the proper way. That's the way you prefer.
No, I'm asking you why it is that your team can't just go in. Why you need to get a warrant?
It's city policy. We don't need to get a warrant. You're not allowing us to follow
Because he
city
wants
policy.
to search that. He wants to search my house. That's what he just said to me.
It's been
Yesterday I
recorded.
told you I'd take 2 officers and walk down there, but he's saying he wants to search every house in my room. It's like, to get downstairs, we walk straight down. What the hell is the side bedrooms or anything
Yeah,
else have
what's
to do
that
with
got
anything?
The police have ways they follow. They do things too. So it's, obviously you can't accept the way we want to do things. We'll just.
Well, we
do
got it all
entry
on
warrant.
camera, so come on in. Let's go. Bring your guys in. Let's film you guys doing what you're doing, and we'll just see what my lawyers have to say after that, and it'll be a lot easier.
Well, we come in, but you guys stay outside.
No.
No, you guys aren't gonna search my
No
house.
fucking way.
That's how we do it. If you don't want that, that's fine.
No.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks for your time, Jason.
Thank you. I'll show that to my lawyer. Thanks, guys.
Okay, I'm recording.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3,
Three.
4. Come on, don't hear that for a second.
Welcome back to Cannabis in Canada with Jason Wilcox. We're sitting here at the Art Gallery. It's 8:30 in the morning. We got a few people that are standing around that are saying they're not going to go anywhere. And believe me, there's going to be a lot more as the crowd grows. So will the activists continue to make their moves.
Just remember me the right way. Want you to keep in mind today better than yesterday. And for my fellow companions, all I could do was pray. But remember me like your memory, just like a fragment of a kin, friend, or enemy. So many enemies trying to get into me. I'm just a broken part, feeling detached off. Cause trying to get in this game is like a scratch off.
Opus, otherwise known as McMahon. Brother, we go back a lot of years. You know, West Coast is in the house. What do you think of what the hell's going on with this?
It was interesting. You know, the tent started going up. The city officials came over, and I noticed they had the biggest guy they could find from the city wearing the Viz vest. But we stood up for our rights. They had the cops sort of all hanging around the outside, so there's their backup, obviously, in case, like, what? What are we thinking? We're going to jump the city guy?
We're just here assembling on the stairs outside the Vancouver Art Gallery. I'm trying to have a peaceful protest here today. The city knows that, but it looks like they are out in force.
Just remember my
Why aren't you guys on the perimeter? You were on the perimeter before, and now you're right in the crowd with a camera. What's the reasoning for the camera in the crowd?
You should be on the perimeter because now you're engaging the activists, you're engaging our cameras. Go back to the perimeter where you belong.
We're just keeping the peace.
Peace, peace.
I'm amazed because it's been 15 years we've been doing this and we've never ever seen this sort of provocative stance from the police.
To have that police presence there and to use those intimidation and harassment tactics the way they did is outrageous.
There was non-communication. You know, we didn't even know.
And he said, if you keep selling cannabis, we're going to arrest you.
It was an organized effort. It was almost like it was rehearsed. It was almost like it was funded from not the VPD.
I was scared that they were actually going to get away and deter people from Cannabis Day.
I said, you know, we're going to start selling cannabis. That's our protest. You know, the laws against selling cannabis are why we have Cannabis Day. So he said that he understood that and that they were going to be realistic.
Go back, he's under arrest. These guys got extremely violent, extremely fast.
Shame on the city of Vancouver. Shame on the VPD.
We have no need for all these officers. They're worrying all of these people here. You should send them back somewhere else away from here. We don't need to have this police presence.
Knowing that we were not violent and they continue to push us. And then when passive civil disobedience and passive resistance is implied, why use mace?
We were not violent. You know, I mean, it was excessive. They were trying to push me back.
Look, you guys don't need to be here. You're causing problems by being here. You could be inciting a riot.
Don't let listen to me. Anybody at that booth, you don't let anybody give out a dab. You tell them all, don't give out a freaking dab. Don't share any joints with anybody you don't know. Period. It's very important right now because they got us all. They're watching us and they know some of us just left. Welcome back to Cannabis in Canada with Jay Smokeox. I've got Owen Smith here and Ted Smith, and we are on the island. Guys, what do you think about what's going on here in Vancouver?
It is a sad day, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone, but you know, our soldiers have stood their ground, and hopefully we'll be able to move ahead and have a better Cannabis Day next year.
This prohibition causes more and more pain and suffering as all of its horrible parts are exposed.
Cannabis Day, its roots are in medical, and clearly the MMPR just got ruled unconstitutional. So how dare they try to step in and shut down Cannabis Day?
So sad, after 20 years of peaceful events, that the city would do this. It's not, the influence of cannabis causing all this harm. It's the law, again, just causing harm in people's lives.
The prohibition that's held up by the federal government is causing all of these problems. And Vancouver City is trying to look good for the government by trying to crack down on these people, but it looks terrible. We have a poor, sick people who are being stepped on in the street.
It's just the saddest day in cannabis activism in this country's history.
There it is. So that's kind of a little bit of a history. It's fun on Friday night. I'm still going to manage to, I think my wife and I are still, she's feeling a little bit better enough to be able for us to hobble our way down to, get down to White Spot and have some dinner and really just chill out. It's been a long week. It's been extremely stressing. As you can see, all of our glitches are fixed, other than maybe me, but all of our technical glitches are fixed, and we've had some good transitions, which means now we can start Skyping people in and moving to the next stage of broadcasting, which is, at first getting everything locked down was the hardest part, but
again, it's a learning process, and I'm proud to say that we've got this far, and we're still looking for more help. If you're interested in helping, we do have website stuff, and we're always looking for writers. We're always looking for people that are hungry. As you see, Toronto's very hungry, so we got a lot of active people there. We're getting a little old, myself and Vicky, for we have a certain target base and audience group that we reach, and of course the younger generation is going to need, the 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds are going to need people that relate to their generation, and carry that message sometimes. At least that's just my perspective. The better, hey puppy, the better the knowledge base, the better. Hey, there you go. Hey, there you go. See, you can see on TV. Yeah, I get you on some TV. I know you want to go out, don't you? You want to go out, don't you? Yeah, I know. Yeah, there's this mutt's growing up, so I love her. She's a junkyard dog, but I don't know. I can't travel with her, so it makes it hard. Still thinking about finding her a nice home, at least where she can run. Sucks living downtown here, because she has to, be stuck in this condo and limited to dog parks. And I don't know, if I was a dog, I wouldn't like being limited to this stupid dog park. You got to share it, and it's a small little area of the beach. It's just not the same. So I don't know, that stuff's important. So I'm just waiting for Vicky to finish. Once she's done getting herself ready, then I'll be signing off and getting ready to head down, because honestly, I got to get some food into us. And my poor lady, again, I hate seeing her in pain. I'm hoping that some oil will be able to kick in, and it'll do a lot. But my friends, if you're interested in being on the show, getting involved with Cannabis in Canada, remember, because of the internet, I've worked with people like Master Bong, for instance, out of California. We've done collabs, we've done all kinds of different stuff. This is our chance to build out awareness and build out media in a way that people will want to tune in and watch it. And if it's not my voice, it doesn't matter whose voice it is, as long as we're carrying accurate information and we're building an army that's prepared to push back against any bad legislation as we usher in legalization. Remember, all this legislation that's tabled is proposed legislation. It has to go through the Senate, where it usually will get chewed up and spit out, and then it'll eventually get passed and brought into law. But we have to see what that final polished version looks like versus the raw, ugly look that they put out on the table to scare the hell out of the country, which they've done a good job of. I've gotten numerous emails, numerous phone calls of concern over this legislation and what this means. People have halted their investments, they've halted what they're doing, and rightfully so. I talked about the legal supply, but what are you going to do about it? That's the question. So I say, what do we do about jail? For 95 years is we kept growing and we kept supplying. And if they're going to allow a monopoly in this country to try and take over a free and democratic peoples, then I think our only option left is to object and find other ways around it. And whatever those ways may be, through collectives, through co-ops, through marches, through protests, we can still change policy. Just because you can't challenge it through the judicial or through constitutional law doesn't mean it can't be changed. But it takes a lot of voices, takes a lot of people. Remember, these licensed producers are big $20 million companies with big lobbyists, big deep pockets, and they're able to throw a lot of money at this. The only thing that matches up to big money is big people. If you have 1,000 people under one banner, like the Patients, we had 8,000 people in the coalition. That was a powerful voice. Plus 56 organization and groups signatory to our organization, to make what was a dominant presence, and did its job to fund Allard, and make a national public awareness case, and make it a public interest case that shows that this move by the federal government of Canada was going to cause irreparable harm to 1 million medical patients, not just the registered ones, but Health Canada's own admission of 1 million estimated medical patients in Canada would have been thrown under the bus. All said, it's a Friday night. I'm going to have some drinks. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Get your dabbers up. Do whatever it is you do on the weekend. Give your loved ones a hug and spend some time with your loved ones on the weekend. Time is short, and often I forget this myself because I've been sick, and I'm just now. You get those times where you remember. I remember I bought my wife some flowers this week, and I haven't bought her flowers in probably 8 or 9 months. We've been so damn busy and doing everything. I've never really stopped to just say thank you for being my wife. So just remember to love your loved ones out there, and enjoy your weekend, guys. And who knows, we might pop the show off early Saturday. or Sunday afternoon or something. Who knows? I'm just happy to have my equipment working. So also, I really am. It was a nightmare to get this to finally work, and now that it is, I'm completely content, honestly, guys. And whether there's 10 people watching or 10,000, I really don't care. I'm more happy that this is working because now we can. It's not the issue of content. We can keep putting content. It's that once you get a stable show, then you can really build it out. And now that we've got a stable show and stable cameras, everything that we need to do, we've also taken it mobile and tested it. That's all that matters. Now we can start to do zoning on the content, make sure our shows are every week at the same time, so you guys know when we're on. In the meantime, please like us. Please remember to hit that. You'd like to be notified, for future upcoming live shows. That way, when we go live, sometimes we go live from crazy places when we're on the road, and especially with the upcoming trip to Australia, you can expect we're probably going to go live from Australia. So all said, this is Jason Wilcox and Vicky O'Brien, who's sitting in the background. We love you all, and we'll see you in the next show. Cheers. Peace.